So first up to the stage, we have Karen Tosco from the Bonaventure Realty Group in Collegeville, Pennsylvania. We have Melissa Anderson, agent on the JFK Living team. We have Ashley Falkowski in Delaware. And we have Matt Marino from Kind Real Estate at Ambler, Pennsylvania. So there we go, guys. Welcome to the stage. Welcome to the first ever Collective Summit. I'm sure people are sick and tired of me rambling for the last 15 minutes. Oh, we lost Matt. We lost Matt already. So quick introductions. Let's do a 1 minute introduction for everybody. Karen, let's go with you and let's go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Tosco. My husband and I run Real Pennsylvania in Collegeville. We call it Bonaventure Realty Group. We've been in real estate since 2003. We have an amazing team upstairs. I'm really excited to be here and talk about mindset.
Awesome. Mel, go for it.
I'm Melissa Anderson. I'm an agent on the JFK Living team. I am entering my 7th year in real estate, come from a background of operations management in manufacturing and distribution and construction. So I'm excited to share best practices today because I struggled in real estate for a long time.
All right. Matt, you're muted, buddy.
There we go. Matt Marino. I'm the team leader of Kind Real Estate Collective out of Ambler. Run the team with my partner, Pat, who runs our Bucks County location in Doylestown. And we've been with the collective for 4 or 5 months now and really getting into the swing of things. My background, I've sold just about everything before I got into real estate. So all of this pipeline stuff with Zillow Preferred is right up my alley, and I'm excited to get into it.
Awesome. And then Ashley Falkowski, representing Delaware.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Falkowski. I am the Delaware area director for the Collective. I'm so excited to be here. I just love this whole organization. New to Zillow Flex. However, I've been in the real estate industry for 20 years. I have a sales background, brokerage operations, coaching, training, all the things. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. So guys, thank you so much for coming to this panel. So the panel, once again, is Agent Mindset. Winning starts within. So we know that 2025 has been a year. Life has lifed. Real estate has real estated. So the goal of this session is to really inspire agents about their mindset, finding their consistency, and having the habits to fuel the daily success. So one of the biggest questions that I want to start off with is, what is the biggest mind shift that helped you go from surviving to thriving in 2025? Because I think, there's been a lot of noise. There's a lot of news that goes on. We've had one of the worst affordability for clients right now. So I'm going to throw that to Karen real quick to get started here.
So how did I go to thriving? I don't know, Jer. So this year has been hard. It's been hard for everybody. I definitely keep the news in the background, and I focus on positivity. That's how I wake up every day. Somebody told me a very long time ago, we wake up unemployed every day in real estate until you sell something. That may not serve everybody, but it serves me, and it gets me up and it gets me moving. The team drives me, but positivity, 100%. Jared, should I get into some of the stuff that's gone on?
Honey. You guys, this is about going personal, deep, the whole 9 yards, because guess what? We all go through things. So go for it, honey.
Jared's known me for 5 years. He's watched us through a lot of things, heart attacks, strokes. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and he kept me laughing, and so did my team. And I have always erred on the glass is half full kind of person, and I feel like that prepared me for breast cancer. So we got through that. And then this year, our son went into alcohol rehab for a month. And if you want to talk about getting back, getting knocked down and getting back up, I feel like I'm the queen of it. And people say, how do you do it? And I choose joy. I choose to dance around my kitchen. I choose to laugh. I choose to focus on the positive. Negativity has no place in my life. I wouldn't let the doctors tell me what stage cancer I had because there was no way I was walking around with that number in my head. I had to do this my way, and I had to focus on the positive. And believe me, there was times that I was scared. There was times that I cried, but I knew that I had to stay in front of this. And mindset is huge. And if I can wake up every day, drag my ass to the office. So the joke was nobody knew I had breast cancer. So women, do you know what the halo is? It's like that fish string thing. It has like hair on the back. I would put that on and put a baseball cap on. And there were days after chemo, and the team can attest to this. I literally would crawl up the stairs. I didn't miss a meeting. I didn't miss a Zoom call. The team protected me and they drove me. And I showed up for them every day. And I would come up and I'd take the hat off and I would just have this string of, they called me Joe Dirt. So I would just have this string of hair. And I showed up every day because they made me laugh. And I needed that. And they didn't treat me differently. It was like, okay, what's the team meeting about? What are we talking about? And you've got to surround yourself with the tribe. And I have the best tribe around. And Jeremiah and Pip and Mel and Jen have been added to that, and they lift me up and they carry me. And you've got to find your tribe. You've got to find not just your why, but what wakes you, what gets you out of bed every day, and not letting my team down and finding the joy and finding the silver lining. That's what I thrive on.
Okay. Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah. Love you, darling. And that is the whole thing. Like, not only are we going through things with our own life, like we have a lot of clients that are going through that same thing, right? And we have to lead with grace and with everybody's situation. It's definitely something, and like you said, it's hard sometimes to get up every single day and put on that smile and go help clients when there's so much stuff in our own lives that are pressing. So thank you for sharing that, Karen. Like, I just want to, you guys, this is what it's all about. It's about being authentic today. It's about, talking about, yes, all the good tips and tricks, but also about what we can do for each other as agents to support, because you never know what somebody is going through. So just be there, send that text message. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing to our clients as well, right? We don't know, oh my God, they're not getting back to me. They're ghosting me, right? They might be going through something very traumatic, and it's, and we're guiding people through some of the hardest things of their life. So,
Jared, we're therapists. We're therapists. I remember when my dad died, and it had been a couple months, and my mom calls me. I'm like, where are you? She's like, I'm in Wegmans, and she's bawling. And I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I need to buy a watermelon. I'm like, okay. And she's like, I can't move. And I'm like, why? She goes, because Daddy always picked the watermelon. And she's in Wegmans and bawling. You don't know what people are going through. You have no idea. Joe, we'd go on listing appointments, and Joe's like, kiddo, just get to listing appointment and you can go back to bed. And I'd be, you put on a show. You're here. It's great. Nobody knows I have breast cancer. Let's get the listing appointment. And you're like, get in the car and you're like, oh my God. You don't know what people are going through. And you have to raise them up when you feel like you need to be raised up. It's part of our job.
Perfect. All right. So let's go to Ashley here. So how has mindset, especially because you are newer on the preferred platform, how has mindset really helped you in your business?
It's everything. Like Karen said, I wake up every day and I have a little mantra I tell myself: I'm a ray of sunshine. And I may add some other words in there that are not friendly for StreamYard or Zoom today. So, but that's my way of reminding myself, like, what I internally, what I feel, that's what I put out to the world. That's what other people experience in me. That's how I connect with people. And so when I tell myself I'm a ray of sunshine, that's how I show up for my day, right? And that's how people experience me. And not every day is a ray of sunshine. We experience so many different things, so many different personalities, so many different situations. Like Karen said, like we are almost the counselor in the center of, the tornado that can sometimes be a real estate transaction. And finding a way to kind of push that aside for a little bit and recenter myself in my priorities. So my family and achieving my goals always comes first. And when I can remind myself of that, even if I'm having a tough day and I don't want to get on that phone and go find that next client, or I don't want to take that incoming call from Zillow, or I don't want to respond to that lead or that agent or that whatever has just come in because I feel that stress rise up, I remind myself, I center myself in my goals. Everything I do is for my family and for our future and what we're building. And at the end of the day, that can pull me through anything. And when I stay centered in that, I'm able to show up as my best self and help as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm going to pick on Melissa Anderson. If you don't know, she is my sister. So I'm going to really throw her. Here comes the bus, Mel. Here comes the bus. Okay. When you hit a slump and you want to quit, how did you get yourself out of that? Oh, no. Oh, we're going to get that audio back up here shortly. So while Mel's doing that, Matt, I'm going to go to you. That mindset of starting on Preferred with all sorts of things, what was the mindset that you and your team had to, transitioning from Premier, Zillow Premier to Zillow Preferred or Zillow Flex?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jer. I mean, it goes back to the overall mindset as well. So, and it leans itself to Preferred. So Ben Kinney actually said something on stage at 1 year at Rise that hit me hard, and I probably repeated it to my team over 1,000 times. This business can be broken down as simply as know what to say and have enough people to say it to. And Zillow Preferred is taking care of the second part of that, right? Which is where a lot of agents struggle. So if you can put everything else aside and understand that the second piece of that is done for you, and you're being handed these leads that are way further down in the funnel than what you're used to generating yourself. And then you can work on all you need to do is work on your conversion. And that's something that you can totally control through your effort and your practice and reps. You really can control everything in your business. You only have to worry about this one part of it. And the beautiful thing about Zillow Preferred, if you're doing the right things, if you're converting, if you're following the process, your pipeline's never going to be dry. So you can really just worry about practice, the reps, and making sure you're servicing these people, these prospects, while in the background, you're building your business by design that you really truly want to, right? So when we're looking at this as, hey, these are bottom of the funnel, we need to change our mindset and remember when we get these leads in from Zillow Preferred, in what world are we pretending that when we generate our own leads, it's someone's entering our world when they're ready to go see a house and put an offer in? They start way higher in the funnel than that a lot of times. So when we change our mindset to understand that, and this is really kind of our churn and burn business, ready to roll business, ready to get paid business that we can service in a really high way if we practice the reps and practice the routines of servicing the client, it gives everyone a real head start on building the business that you really dream of and creates the freedom and the leverage. So once we started looking at these leads as that, it really changed the game for us.
Very, very well said. I think that's because we've probably this show of hands and probably in every watch party, if us as preferred agents and we tell other agents that we are Zillow Preferred, they're like, you are a Zillow Preferred agent. Why do you support them? And they don't understand the opportunity that this gives our agents. It's not. I think this is the biggest thing. It's not about us as team leaders. We are giving our agents an opportunity to build their pipeline and their past client list faster than any other lead source out there. I am 110%. So I'm gonna go. Hopefully, I turn the bus around, and it's coming back for Mel, because I tell you guys, Zillow sometimes is hard. So let's see here, Mel. Why don't you leave studio and come back in and see if that will work for you? So we're going to do that. Mel's going to come out. So let's talk about that, Karen. Like, what has, like, while Mel goes back in, what has that mindset of, how do you transition that to your agents when they're in a slump?
Ooh. We've all been there. And I think that's one of the things that I probably struggle with the most as a team leader. I want to lead by example. And I think I've shown them positivity. I think I showed them that, I rise up every day, but my struggles are not their struggles. And as a team leader, I just don't see the agent sitting in front of me. I see their partner. They have kids. The dog is sick. They haven't had a sale like in 3 months. I used to be a teacher, and I would see all 32 kids, and they all had different struggles. And it's the same thing with the agents. How do I reach each of the agents with the struggle where they are right now? And that's what Joey always says. We have to meet them where they are. And it's hard. And I hope I set a good example for them. I hope I take them down the path where we can laugh and I can help them get on a better path. I don't know, Jared, my mind's all over the place. I hope I'm a good leader. I don't know. It's hard. There's 22 of them, and 15 or there's. Oh my God, I'm losing my thoughts. It's hard. It really is. I want to. We've got to keep them on the straight and narrow. There's days where they're like, Zillow, they wanted to know what color the carpet was. What was the flooring in there? They ask all these kinds of questions, and they're like, we're Pop-Tart agents, and you've got to redirect them. And it's hard some days, because some days I feel exactly the same way that they do. But Zillow it's a privilege, and we all know that. But there's days, just like in everybody's lives, where it's hard some days, and you have to give them the opportunity to vent and work through it and get back to laughter and get back to center. Yeah. We're not allowed to unpack. You can't stay there. You can't.
No, exactly. We can't sit in that. So, Mel, for it.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yay! Welcome to the morning.
So, real quick, just two big takeaways. My cat's going to get in here.
I love it.
Surviving to thriving in your mindset is all about taking ownership. And I know that sounds trite, but it really is. Whether you're on a team or your team lead, you have to take ownership of your business. Just like you would take ownership of a role in a W-2 position, you have to take ownership of your business. You're running a business. You are an entrepreneur. You wake up every day looking for business, not for it to be handed to you. Secondly, when you hit a slump, I try to flip the whole table in 2 hours, right? I'm going to have all this action. I'm going to call 3,000 people and I'm going to do this. That does not provide clarity, right? We need to go back to the basics, do a couple of things, reach out to 3 or 4 past clients, reach out to 4 or 5 new prospects, and get out in the community and take some action to start moving you forward. When the phone rings, pick it up. Mm-hmm. You have to have the mindset that you are saving this person from working with an inept agent.
Oh, burn.
Okay? You are saving them from having a horrible experience. You are looking at them as a human who has worries, concerns, hopes, dreams. And when you do that and you put it all together, you're going to be happy that phone is ringing.
Ooh.
That was good.
I'm
Somebody
I'm
said
glad
say
you got
it
your mic
again.
worked out.
I mean, and to stop obsessing about metrics, right? We all know what they are. Like I obsess about them. I'm constantly looking, and all that does is create anxiety. So if you just lead with service and looking at these people as human beings, the rest of the crap comes, right? It all will come together. And the more you do this, the more you're going to realize that's what happens. And it's just going to become more natural for you.
Yeah. Well said. Like I think that is I talk to agents all the time, and I'm sure we all have, and people who are watching this, you talk to agents and like, they're in a bit of a slump, and then they're like, I'm gonna go call 100 people a day. And then
No, you're not.
that first day, that the day after, they call 3 and they feel like,
Crap.
okay, I only called 3, so I'm horrible. I'm just not gonna call anybody else ever again.
But Jared, that comes with
Go ahead, Matt.
that comes with the reps and the practice as well, right? Because on the other side of the field, like I think I totally agree with what Mel is saying. Like you have to take actions that are reasonable to be consistent with, but at the same time, the fastest way to get out of an anxious state of mind is just taking massive action. Massive action and effort negates all luck. So if there's anything that you can control in your business, it really is the effort. And when you're in a slump, I'm not saying your business always has to go this way, but if you're in a slump, the quickest and most guaranteed way to get out of that is to just commit to a cadence and a practice of something that you can do at such an unreasonable level that it would be impossible for you not to win. And what I mean by that is it might totally suck, but if I'm in a slump and I know I need a paycheck in the next 30 days, I can commit to going in and making as many calls as I need to have 25 conversations a day. And it would be totally unreasonable that I didn't win if I really committed to that. So again, not saying that has to be your entire business. That's not reasonable to continue that. But if you're in a slump, the easiest way to get out of that anxious state of mind is just to take action. And I love what Mel said about how you really look at these prospects. I couldn't agree more than that.
You guys, we have to remember the people on the other side of the phone are human.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And like you said, they have hopes and dreams of finding a place for their family. So why don't we give them that service? So there's 2 more questions I want to get through, we only have a few minutes here. I think a lot of people get scared. What do you do? How do you handle fear of rejection and the slow months? Like, I think a lot of agents are like, are they going to like me? Oh, I don't think they like me. Like, how do you handle that? So Mel, I'll start with you and then we'll go 2 minutes each.
Well, I want everyone to like me. But I'm such a people pleaser. But I mean, you have to understand rejection isn't personal. And just because it's no right now doesn't mean it's no forever, right? So you have to get into the mindset that just because it's not right now, it doesn't mean no forever. And so, you have to start building relationships with them then, right? Because you want them to, when they are ready, to come back to you. But, rejection is going to happen. And you just have to put that to the side and focus on the people who do want to work with you, right? I think a lot of times it's just like in an open house. You have somebody who comes in and you spend so much time trying to convince the one person who's, talking crap about the house that they should love it, that you ignore like the 2 people who actually love it, right? So you need to focus on the people that want to work with you. The rejection will come. And you're not for everybody, and that's okay. And you have to learn to be okay with that. And I'm okay with it now. I used to like chase people because I'm like, no, they've got to work with me. I want them to work with me. What's wrong with them? And it's okay. it's okay, because there will be plenty of other opportunities of people who actually want to work with you.
Yeah. Mac, go for it.
I'm a big believer that the fear and the anxiety of the uncertainty comes from a lack of preparation and skill. I firmly believe that your agents aren't afraid to make the call. They're afraid of not having the correct response when the person on the other line hits them with something they're not prepared for. They're not afraid of prospecting and they don't freeze just because it's something that you guys don't practice, right? If I told you that I had a magic pill that you could take every day and lose 50 pounds with no negative side effects, and it's the best thing in the world, you'd call every single person in your phone book without any hesitation, without any fear. So I'm a believer, you need to work, you need to practice, you need the reps, you need to make these calls, you need to be out in the field doing these showings so that you're not practicing on your clients when you're in front of them. You need to have the skill set and be prepared. You need to know what to say and believe that you're really coming from a place of value and you can serve these people.
Yeah.
If you're really coming from a place that you believe you're the best fit for them and you can really help them whenever the time's right to transact, you'll make the phone calls.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's a matter of just being confident in your skills and getting the reps in so that you don't feel like you're practicing on the clients. And then I really do believe that the fear will kind of dissolve after that.
Awesome. Ashley.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that in what both Matt and Mel said. So confidence comes with reps, 100%. You also have to just be okay with not being the right agent for everyone. But I also flip that around and I say, not every client is the right client for me.
Mm.
Right? And that's okay. If we're not in alignment, like out the gate, I might give it a chance, but eventually we may have that conversation of, hey, I'm not the right agent for you, and that's okay. And I want you to have the best agent for you.
Mm.
Right? Now that gets easier with time and experience. It also gets easier when you're on track for your goals, because then you can look at your pipeline and say, yes, like I can walk away from this one and be okay with that. But I've also found when I walk away from one, 3 others that are a phenomenal fit show up because I have the capacity to help them, because the one that wasn't right isn't draining me. And so sometimes I have to remind myself and I have to say, yeah, that would be a nice big commission. But you know what? Would it be worth it? Probably not. Let me go find 3 more that are worth it and go take care of them.
Another mic drop on that one. Absolutely. So Carrie, let's what would you say to your agents?
You guys, I said it before, I'll say it again. More no's get you to a yes. And listen, I was extra before it was a thing, and I am not a fit for everybody. Everybody here knows me. It's the truth. And I used to get upset. I used to make phone calls, and Joe and our desks faced each other. Joe's like, why do you get me? I'm like, because I would have been fun. They didn't even give me an opportunity. And Joe's like, oh my God, move on. It took me a long time to get comfortable. If you don't role play, if you don't practice, as Matt says, if you don't do the reps, you are going to be petrified every time you pick up that phone. You're not going to be good because you don't know what to say. You don't know how to serve them. You've got to put in the time. Baptism by fire, I do. I throw a lot of the new agents on the phones and I give them the oldest leads because they've got to get past it. But you've got to do the reps. You've got to do the role play. You've got to get to your one-on-ones. You've got to do the work. So when you get on that phone, I don't care if you're my daughter who's 21 years old and a new agent, she needs to know exactly what to say, just like the 53-year-old who's been doing it, since 2003. You got to put the work in for sure.
I love that, guys. Whoa. I tell you, I thought like these segments were going to be like, oh my goodness, we're going to have to like try to find things to say. Wow. I'm like,
you know us, we all talk.
It might be 8 hours and not 4 hours. So I want to thank each and every one of you for spending some time with us on the panel today.
Oh, Jer, real quick, Dennis had a question about getting out in the community real quick.
Yep.
So I am the biggest introvert you will ever meet. I don't mind meeting like possible serial killers at homes that I don't know, but like talking to people scares me. So what I do is I force myself to go into my local community, meet with the business owners, get to know them on a, name to name basis. And that helps me get over the fear of picking up the phone, right? So it's just, I know we all know ourselves. We know what our strengths and weaknesses are, but I challenge you to do that, because the more you do that, the more the picking up the phone doesn't matter.
Yeah. Love it. Oh, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for the first one. So we are going to keep on going into the next one. So Ashley, I knew you were actually supposed to be on this next one, and you got pulled into this one too. So congratulations, you're on to the next one as well. Say it on.
Hey, listen, you could always count on me, Jared.
Karen, Mel, and Matt, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, guys, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank
So up next, we have Launching Strong on Zillow Preferred. So let's bring in everyone here. And you guys, the panelists on this, especially, like, wow, let's go. So for those who are just joining, we are on to this next one. Ashley Falkowski is staying on to this one about Launching Strong on Zillow Preferred. Ryan, go ahead and introduce yourself. Nice to meet you, actually.
Ryan, are we wearing the same sweater?
Oh no, that's perfect.
That's funny, dude.
I gotta stop giving you all my style tips, Chris.
I know, right?
Yeah, great to meet you, Jeremiah, and Ashley and Kevin. How's it going?
Hey,
Ryan Town, CEO and founder of Eloquate. We help real estate teams, mid to mega sized teams, work on agent production, and ultimately growing their revenues, scaling on programs like Flex, like Zillow Preferred.
Yep, awesome. Thanks, Ryan, for being here. And I don't know if this guy actually needs an introduction. He's been slammed all over social, but my good friend, Cristianos. Chris.
Hi guys, my name's Cristiano. So I'm kind of tripping out because this light is making my face and hair and beard look orange. So I'm looking a little ginger today, which is cool.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah, but my name's Cristiano. I'm the co-founder and CEO of two companies, Humanize and RahRah. But in my past life, I worked at Zillow for almost 5 years, along with Ryan. Ryan worked there. He forgot to mention that. And then I left and I built a mega team. So I had about 250 agents, taking about 1,500 Flex connections a month before it became Preferred. So very, very incredibly familiar with kind of all pieces of this game. I've been on all sides of it, and I'm excited to be here today and share all of the useless nonsense in my brain that's hopefully helpful.
I love it. And you guys, if you don't know Chris, he has no useless knowledge. It is on fire. And then Kevin Saccone from Real Washington Township. Welcome. How are you, Kevin?
Good morning.
Morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I started Real Washington Township a year ago, so 13 months ago. I've been in real estate since 2002. We have a team of 12. That's about it.
Okay, awesome. So let's jump right in because this is going to be a jam-packed. So launching Strong on Zillow Preferred, we're going to be helping agents understand exactly what top performers do in their first 90 days because it really sets the tone, don't you think, of how to launch?
Yeah, if you don't do it right, it's really hard to recover, I think, is probably a really good way to put it.
Yeah. So Ashley, let's start with you real quick. The first question: what did you do in your first 30 days that made the biggest difference?
Okay. Well, so first of all, I want to disclaim I'm in day 94.
Okay. So you're
like, this is day 94 of my Zillow Preferred. So everything is very fresh for me. So those first 30 days, honestly, it started before the first 30 days, I would say, because I took a few weeks. I launched September 1st. So I took part of August and really set up all of my systems, made sure my bio was sharp. Like I had Chat GPT go crawl the web for all my stuff and create a really great bio, right? My all my contact information was synced everywhere so that when a consumer came into my world and they're going to go search me as they should, they can really see who I am, what I'm all about, and start to earn that trust from the beginning. Because they're coming in through an internet portal, so I wanted to start to build that relationship through the internet. So that was honestly, that's how I started. Um, and then the first 30 days, I mean, I got flooded. Zillow wants us in Delaware, so I got slammed, myself and my partner Nicole. Labor Day weekend, I was up at the shore in Jersey getting requests I couldn't even respond to because I wasn't even home, right? I didn't even know. So when I got home, I made sure my schedule was clear. I took every call I could possibly answer and just followed the process that the collective and Zillow had laid out for us and made sure I was on point with my scripting, knowing the systems. I mean, I just dove in and just let it be chaotic because it really was for me personally, but I embraced it.
Yeah. And and Ryan and Ashley, that's great for an agent, perspective. Ryan and Chris, talk to us about how team leaders can get prepared
Ryan, you want to go?
for
Ryan,
that
you want to go
first
first?
90 days.
Yeah, Ryan should go first.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. It's interesting having worked with hundreds of teams, that have launched in this. I think there's two different perspectives. Agents should really be focused on, meeting as many as customers as possible. And I think that can be a transition, especially if they're coming from more traditional sides of the business. Some agents are brand new and Preferred creates this really good accelerator, right, for brand new talent. They don't have any habits. They don't have any opinions necessarily on how real estate should be done. So you can put them in a model like Preferred and they kind of just go. But if you take an agent that's, built a business from a more traditional stance, they've built a sphere, they get referrals, and then you put them into a system like Preferred, the biggest challenge for them, I think sometimes is just adjusting their mindset on working with those new customers. It's not that they should, be door openers or just run out and just go do foolish things for strangers out in the market or anything, but their sphere needs one thing. And then these new customers that don't yet like, know, or trust them need a different thing. And so I think for some agents, team leaders need to kind of know the difference between a new agent that doesn't have to make that transition and maybe a more tenured agent that's trying to accelerate their business, that's trying to grow, but needs to kind of step into that new path. So I think that's usually where most of the guidance is for early stage teams and agents.
I agree, and I'm gonna go like a little bit level deeper and kind of like try and get as tactical as I can for this for all the team leaders listening. There's two mistakes that people make in the beginning with Preferred, right? I agree with what Jeremiah was saying earlier. It is the single fastest way to grow a book of repeat and referral business, right? There's an opportunity cost, but it is by far the single fastest way to do that. And when you look at it through that lens, it's like, okay, well, the more deals I do, the faster that repeat and referral business builds, and I'm gonna like start to hit this flywheel and it's gonna get really sweet. There's two mistakes people make. One, do not, from a team leader perspective, and I've seen this play out a bajillion times, and I've made this mistake myself. Don't assume just because an agent has done 10, 15, 20 transactions working repeat and referral that they intrinsically know how to work a flex lead, right? Let's call a spade, preferred lead now, right? Working with internet consumers is different. These are people that there's no like and trust, like Ryan was talking about, right? They don't know, like, and trust you yet. So it's a different type of sale. And when we assume that just because someone's had success with traditional real estate, that they're going to do well with flex leads or preferred leads, it's a fatal mistake. So that's step one, right? You never just assume that someone's going to get it figured out. The second thing is really, really, really tactical. I call it like Zillow jail, which AKA is known as like disengagement, right? The simplest way to never go into Zillow jail is make sure that no single agent ever takes more than 10 connections in a month, right? and never takes more than 10 without putting one in escrow. Ever. No questions asked, end of story, bar none. And I know Ashley's looking at me right now like, Chris, you're insane, right? Give me all of them. I'm joking. Ashley can probably handle more, but here's the thing that starts to happen, right? Agents start to work on just the layups and they forget about the rest of the funnel. And then all of a sudden, with 1 or 2 agents, not a big deal. But when you have 20 that all do the same thing, your conversion rate starts to slow down over time. And you won't feel it in 30 days. You won't feel it in 60 days, but 90 to 120 days later, you're going to have to dig yourself out of the swamp, right? And that is really, really, really hard. It's easier to just avoid it altogether. So that's what I would say for the team leaders listening are the 2 most important things to think about.
And I'm actually going to jump in on that real quick and say our top converter, and she's over 10%.
Yep.
Her average lead is 9.9 average in per month. So that 10 is a perfect opportunity because you are able to actually nurture the funnel. Oh, so do you pause your agents on their 10th lead? Manually, we have to do this. I do hear down the road, Zillow will be able to help you do that. Even with connection plan.
I would just think about it like this, guys. I have a policy in any business I run, and this is true with software, real estate, service-based businesses. It doesn't matter. It's kind of a universal truth. It's easier to manage policy than it is to manage people, right? Which I know sounds capitalist and gross, but when you think about it, like when you have these policies in place, it's like, oh, well, it's not me making the decision. It's the policy we have in place. It's the standard that we have in place, right? It's a lot easier to do that. So Brent, the short answer to your question is yeah. And people are going to kick and scream. But when you tell them, hey, I'm doing this because I care about you and I want you to win over long periods of time, they might kick and scream still. But like, I think about the collective environment of team, right? Collective, get it? The collective environment of the team is more important than the individual being happy, right? So like if one person's pissed off because we're going to hold them to this standard and it means the rest of the agents on the team continue to get leads and we don't get put in Zillow jail, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump to Kevin because we're talking about the difference between, sphere and repeat referral business and then jumping into a portal lead. Kevin, like we had a lot of conversations before you guys launched, right? How do you think that difference coming from, your repeat and referral business, how did it change when Zillow leads started to come in? And how did you guys prepare for that? And maybe what's one mistake that you guys did that you wish you didn't do?
So part of the reason of me jumping in it was to learn it so I can teach it, right? And I'm coming from 24 years of never buying a lead. I never bought a lead my entire career. Everything was referral based. And me and Sharon were talking and Sharon's like, you've never been in front of somebody that doesn't know you, right? And it made me like, oh crap, you're right. So I had to change things because my approach was very different. And it was like back to basics, again, rapport building. I agree with Ashley. I scanned ChatGPT and beefed up my resume, which I never did. I didn't touch my resume forever. Didn't care because I didn't need to. And like Chris said, getting overwhelmed, if you get too much, you can't take care of everyone. I also learned quickly, like you double down on the people that business-wise, like that are actively engaging, and everybody else you just kind of like monitor little by little, but really double down on the people and you will close. I mean, and mistake-wise, I think that I think the biggest mistake is probably a little bit more learning of the back end of Hub, the follow-up campaigns, what campaigns are successful, which ones don't engage so well. We had that one incident where somebody complained because they went off script. That's the other thing. Just use the scripts. Don't go off script. There's a reason why they work. Just stay on the script. And then once you perfect it, then you can tweak it, but don't come out of the box and change it.
I think that's a really big point, right? Like Zillow has all this data, right, on how to talk to their client right away. It's called ALM. And I've seen agents try to go in there and change the whole scripting. And guess what? They never book an appointment. So I think you're absolutely right. It's making sure that that first phone call is a catalyst to that appointment.
Hey,
So,
Jeremiah,
Jeremiah-
can I jump in on ALM
Yeah.
for a sec?
Yeah.
So
please.
ALM is it's such a, there's a lot of people that you just heard you say ALM and probably went but the truth is I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of ALM, and I've been a huge proponent of it for many years. While I was at Zillow, I had the opportunity to analyze calls from any agent from any market, and had the opportunity to listen to the very highest producing, highest CSAT agents in the country. And there's a couple of things around ALM that I think new agents could learn from. ALM's, the purpose of it is to set appointments, right? It's ask for the appointment, it's ask for multiple locations and figure out what it is, their motivation for picking those homes. For anybody that doesn't know what ALM stands for, but the things around it, the very top performing agents in the country, they don't just use ALM. They sound like the fun aunt, the fun uncle that you want to see at Thanksgiving dinner, that we all just saw at Thanksgiving dinner last week. They bring that energy into that ALM script, right? Agents who struggle with performance, when they move into a source like Preferred or even, a Realtor or any of the high intent lead sources, they sort of like treat customers like a gatekeeper. They kind of like a bouncer, like, who are you? Where are you going? What are you trying to accomplish? And when you bring that warm and engaging tone, right, to that call, and then you ask ALM, it's much more effective. And then the second thing about ALM, and I'll get off of it, is L is the big unsung hero there. A lot of people don't really talk about L in the ALM framework that much. If setting appointments is cool, meeting customers in person is cooler, right? That more meaningful conversations in homes will sell more homes. So L is getting second and third locations attached to those first appointments. So if I'm a new agent out there and I'm like, how do I do this thing and be really well? Definitely lean into the ALM script, but focus on getting second and third addresses attached to those first showings. For every additional target you get, you increase your chances of meeting the customer by 100%. So if you have 3 targets attached to your first appointment, you have a 300% chance of meeting that customer. A lot of agents just use ALM and they think it's get in, get out, set the appointment, get off the call. And that's not really true. The best agents are using that script to set the highest quality appointment, and that's usually on multiple locations.
Yeah, I think people forget that the greatest rapport builder on the planet is time, right? And the analogy I always give people is, think about how you show up to your first showing and how you show up to the 20th showing with the same buyer, right? This probably isn't best practice, but first showing I used to wear a dress shirt and a blazer, and then by the 10th or 15th showing, you're showing up in flip-flops on a Sunday, right? Time allows you to do that, right? And to Ryan's point, 2, 3, 4 properties the first day, you get to spend more time with that person, right? And time is the greatest rapport builder. So I 100% agree.
I absolutely love that, because like you said, if you're just doing one showing and it's a high-end buy, and there's not a lot of time to build that rapport, right? Because it's they're looking at the house, they have their goals. You're trying to be what's their name again? What was their daughter's name? And let me put all this in my notes real quick so I don't forget. But if you have that opportunity to show them more homes, you can say their name 8 or 9 times.
Yeah, you're doing it right, and then I'll shut up about this. You're doing it right, and I've seen agents do this. It's like the Disney approach, right? I'm not saying on that first phone call you have to be Mickey Mouse jumping out of your shoes fake, right? But if you are a bright spot in people's day, regardless if your interaction is 2 to 5, whatever it is, however long it is, when you show up like that and you're a bright spot in someone's day, you're doing it right when you start getting compliments on things like your energy, right? Someone's like, you have great vibes, you have great energy. And I'm not saying you should go out and seek that, but you're doing it the right way when you're a bright spot in someone's day and they're like, holy shit, I only spent 3 minutes with this person and suddenly my day is a little bit better than it was before. When they call in on the internet and get connected with a stranger, do we think that their expectations are high? No, right? Think about every other instance that happens. They push a button on their phone, they get in an Uber. You're not usually getting like the bright spot in your day. You're getting someone who's like kind of pissed off, a little angry, like they're used to, yeah, the car smell, a little, whatever. They're used to that a little bit, right? So like you take it upon yourself. It's like the Disney playbook, right? And you're the bright spot in their day, even if it's for 2 minutes. But you know you're doing it right when you start getting those little, hey, you've got really good vibes, right? You've got good energy. That's when you know you're on the right track there.
Yeah. So what is one thing, like I would say, let's go back to team leaders and then we'll go back into individual agents again. Team leaders, like I know a lot are maybe not in production and launching into preferred. What advice would you guys have for those team leaders that are not in production anymore, but are launching on preferred? This is kind of a question that wasn't written.
Ryan, I want to take a crack at it, and then I can go, or Kevin should go. Kevin, are you still in production?
Kevin, Ashley, get in here.
I'm still in production. I love it. Okay. I won't leave production.
Kevin, I still sell like 4 to 6 houses a year, so I get it. I can't get out of it. I'm addicted.
I'm a terrible manager.
I would say this, and I know, Ryan, you have some thoughts too, but here's what I would be thinking about right now if I was launching on preferred, and it's really, really, really incredibly important. We talked earlier, and I said like, hey, and don't assume that an agent knows how to intrinsically work these leads. If you're going to make that assumption, I've hired, I don't know, put 50 to 60,000 candidates a year through Humanize, right? I've seen attrition and people hiring and firing patterns and all that stuff, who succeeds, who wins. I met with a team yesterday, right, in an unannounced anonymous market, because I don't want to call this person out, but they do about 3,000 transactions a year, right? 3,000 a year. Like, it's a significant operation. They are on Flex and Preferred and all these other platforms at the highest of levels. And when I was asking them about their operation, they are living and embodying this don't assume that people intrinsically know what to do, right? There's this thing that happens in our industry. I don't know why it's this way, but it is. You pass a 150 question multiple choice vocabulary test, and they give you a license to go sell $10 million houses if you want, right? What do we think that leads to? People coming super prepared to give a high level of service to customers right out of the gate? No, it doesn't. One out of maybe, Ryan, I don't know if you know the numbers on this better than I do, maybe one out of 20 or 30 agents is intrinsically good at the online lead stuff, right? And the others, probably a third of that group can figure it out by trial by fire, right? By just lighting money on fire and burning through leads and kind of working through it. Long-winded way of saying, this team that I talked to yesterday, they have a 2-week in classroom live training that is from 9 to 3 o'clock for 2 weeks, right? Before agents get put on lead rotation. And guess what they do every year? 3,000 transactions a year, right? They've been doing it this way forever. So here's the long-winded way of saying, if you're getting launched on Preferred, the single highest ROI, the activity that you can do if you're not in production, is training your agents, right? I'm not saying you have to do 2 weeks of training with them, because that's a lot and it's a significant time commitment. But sit down after this training's done and put together 2 or 3 days of training. And here's what you need to train on. It's really, really simple. The intake of leads. So when they get their lead first from Preferred, they get a live connection or a real-time tour request. What does that first phone call sound like, right? They need to train on how to prepare for a showing. Not, oh, Chris, I need to print out this buyer package. When they call the listing agent, I want that same Disney experience when they call the listing agent to schedule the showing, because we all know that's how offers get accepted, is on that first phone call. You build that rapport, right? So there's a process for preparing for a showing. They need to know how to show a house, conduct a buyer consultation, and like perform a post-showing thing, right? Meaning sitting down with someone and not leaving before they have a second appointment. And then lastly, they know how to get offers accepted. If you can train an agent on those 4 competencies, right? They don't have to be perfect at it. You would be shocked at how many agents still, and Ryan has this is like the bane of Ryan's existence, I'm sure. Agents show up to a property and go, so what do you think? That's their entire showing process. Right? And it happens. And look, I'm not saying this to like make fun of the industry. It's unfortunate because it leads to agents getting burned. Kevin, do you have something here?
Yeah.
Well, I want to piggyback on that because
please.
I led the productivity coaching program for Keller Williams and
Maps.
created an entire thing about how to show a house. And the problem is realtors don't know houses. Okay.
Right.
Going through an education, getting your license doesn't teach you about a house. And being the fact that we deal with consumers, especially, your 25 to 40 are not educated. They're not handy. They don't know anything. So like I start at the curb and I educate them from the outside of the house, top to the bottom. Second house, I have them teach me about what I taught them on the first one. So then they're going to repeat what I learned. What kind of shingle is that? What kind of siding is that? What else? What red flags do you see? Third house, they're teaching me. That's instant rapport and education. And then you're bringing value to the table instantly. It's not just someone on the internet that they clicked on a button. Now they need you. They don't need you because they have this. You have to make them need you.
Yeah. And I think, Ryan, go for it.
No, please.
You've got
Finish
some fire here.
Finish your thought.
It's just the training of these things, and Brent asked in the chat if we could put them in the chat, so I'll put those in the chat momentarily. But like training agents on these 4 things, it's almost like a non-negotiable if you want to succeed in these platforms long term and at scale, right? Everyone, at least the way I should be, or the way I'm thinking about this, you don't look at Preferred as a trend, an outlet like, hey, I'm going to half-ass it, right? I'm going to come in and do, 100 leads and blah, blah. It's like, no. It makes sense at scale, right? Grow it big and it turns into this giant flywheel of beautifulness, right? But I'm psycho. I had way too much caffeine today. My adjectives are out of control. But the point I'm going and where I'm going with this is training them is the first part. The second part is testing competency, which is as simple as role-playing all of these things. I double dog dare every team leader on this call to pick a random agent on your team and go shadow a showing with them and see what happens. You'll pop a blood vessel, right? You're going to have a brain, it's the craziest thing you'll ever see. And you'll go, oh, no wonder they're not converting. They're doing the, what do you think method, right? So Ryan, I know you've got some thoughts here.
No, I mean, everything, I want to respond to things you said, Kevin, this thing about this device here, super passionate, right? Like over the past 20 years, so much has changed in all of our lives, how we experience the world around us. And yet how we train agents to talk to customers hasn't actually changed that much over the past 20 years, right? And so it's a topic I could go on for hours around. But the question you had, Jeremiah, was for the team leaders on the call. And so I would say everything Chris is saying, Chris and I have known each other for a long time. We're pretty much on the same page on most of this stuff. I'll go a little bit deeper. If I'm a team leader on this call and you're new, the biggest challenge I see for many of you, especially those who are coming from brokerage to teamridge, right?
Ooh.
Is that you need to change the way you think about the group of people you're working with, right? A lot of brokerages that go teamridges, they just bring everybody along, right? Everyone that's at the brokerage is now on my team and they're all getting leads. And that's unfortunately short-sighted for many reasons. So my first call out to the team leaders is don't assume that your top producing agents who are good at sphere and referral, channels are going to be your top producers in your lead program. And that is, we see a lot of teams, I see a lot of teams that get behind the ball just because of that. They bring the whole team over, the whole group comes over. And of course, my $15 million producer, my $20 million producer, of course, they're going to get my leads. That's my guy, that's my girl, right? And, a year later, they're wondering why their campaign's struggling. And it's because they gave this person 200 leads that year and they did one deal. Yeah. And so that doesn't mean that agent's intrinsically bad or wrong. So that the message then is for those top producing agents out there, don't assume what worked for you over here is actually going to work with online leads, right? That difference between like, know, and trust and then cold strangers who have a lot of options, it's a different game. And a lot of top performing agents, they don't even understand why they don't perform the same when you put them in front of strangers. And so that training that Chris is talking about is key. team leaders need to make sure that they're thinking about who they're putting on a lead program. Lead programs aren't for everybody. You know, there's an arc in an agent's business, and depending on where they're at, leads can be a fantastic accelerator. But for many that have figured out how to stand on their own 2 feet and generate really good income, you know, just working with their database, you know, more leads can actually hamper that situation, and it can cause resentment. So I would, if you're a team leader that already has a team that's in this, I would just, it's such a great time of year, you know, Q4, December, just go have a meaningful conversation with your agents about what they want to do in 2026 and make sure that their goals are aligned with the team goals. And if you're a new team leader and you're just getting into a program like Preferred, you just want to make sure you have a clear conversation with everybody that's going to be in your leads team, right? Your brokerage, your team doesn't have to be your leads team. They can be two different things. And just making sure that they're looking for high growth opportunity, but also high accountability, right? You can't take company leads, not fill out your CRM. You can't take company leads and not go meet those folks and build a relationship. But if you're in for that, you know, the leads program can be a very fast way to build a book of business. So yeah, that's usually where most teams get themselves in trouble from my perspective.
Right. I totally agree. Like every few months, like almost once a quarter in a team meeting, I'm like, who doesn't want to do Preferred anymore?
Yeah. Self-select out. Ashley, did you have something to add here?
Like that is the whole thing. Like this is an opt-in for the agent, right? It's not, hey, you're on my team, you're taking all these leads, go work them. And we all have to remember, guys, this is just one lead pillar. I think this is another huge holistic approach that we as team leaders need to realize. It's one lead source. So don't shove it down their throats.
It should never be more than 25 to 30% of an agent's business, period, end of story, bar none. Right? Agents get onto these platforms. In my vision, right, there shouldn't be agents that, like, even if someone's doing a good amount of personal production, feeding the top of the funnel to grow that faster is something they should all be thinking about forever. Does that always happen? No, it happens so frequently that agents burn out on it that I call it a flexpiration date. I made up a really corny word for it, right? You get 12 to 18 months out of an agent before they go, oh, okay, I've built my book of repeat and referral business now. This is sick. Everyone wants that, right? And that's okay. That's like a good option that people should be looking at. But if you're an agent listening to this going, I want to be a killer, you should always take leads from all sources, right? This forever. It feeds the top of the funnel and you get more stuff done over bigger, longer periods of time. So,
and I want to actually go in that because Ashley and Kevin, they already have their own repeat and referral business, right?
Yeah, 20 years of it. Yeah.
You guys have been in the industry and have built that relationship within your community and your past clients and your SOI. Like you've decided to jump into this for a extra lead source or knowing what this program is all about. So you are in the trenches with your agents as well and getting used to it.
Yes.
So Ashley, talk about that just a little bit.
So I decided to do Flex or Preferred now because we are building our Zillow Preferred team here in Delaware, right? That's what I came to do. But I felt like it was important for me to understand it and to really be able to then help the agents that I bring into the program understand it. Because like we said, it's just a different beast, right? You need to approach them differently. And so I took this on as I'm going to use this to add rocket fuel to my own real estate sales business. And then I can go show other agents what can be done. So those agents who are saying to me, a very good friend of mine just last week was like, well, I run a repeat and referral team and that's all we do. And I said, I know. And that works so well for you. How's that working out for the other agents on your team who don't have that book of business, right? And I said, and what could it do for you to actually engage with some of these leads and grow your repeat and referral base faster? And that has been my entire mindset since I took this on. If you had asked me even as recent as three 3 years ago, Ashley, would you engage with Zillow Preferred? I would have said no. Like, I don't need to. I'm good. I don't do internet leads. It's okay. I had the same mindset. Now it's the rocket fuel, and I will tell you, it works. It is rocket fuel.
So
yeah, when you take a look at the 5-year implications of taking 100, 200, 300 connections a month out of your market, a lot of people, think about the now business, but watching some of these teams, Chris knows this even better than I do, watching some of these largest teams, like the big famous teams that everybody knows nationwide, having been around them and watching what they've done over the last 5-6 years, the amount of lead share that you get and this database that you build, even just that alone, 6 to 7% of those people, end up, transacting each year. So you get the upfront, 10 to 20% conversion, depending on how good you are in the first year. But then when you nurture those relationships long term, it could be, it's a game changer for many of these teams. You slowly get 5,000 leads in your database, 10,000 leads in your database, 50,000 leads in your database. You start to get too big to fail.
That is the single most important thing that I would be looking at with Preferred right now. It's basically, for those of you guys that get on these calls and listen to this stuff, there's 2 types of teams that exist right now that are on like Preferred, right? There's people that are doing it hyper transactionally, right? Meaning all they focus on is get deals across the finish line. If you forget about that person on the other end, it's basically a waste of time, right? The amount of money that all of us as team leaders, brokerage owners, whatever, when you look at the margins on Preferred, the benefit of it is the building of your book, right? But if you forget about someone after you put them across the finish line, sure, dopamine hit, conversion, wee, right? You can't deposit wee in the bank, right? But when you really, really intentionally focus on, all right, I got a client, I put them across the finish line. Let me take Kevin and Ashley's brains that have built these big repeat and referral businesses and go, all right, cool. We're just throwing like 91 in the gas tank and going super fast to get these people across the finish line. And then we're going to use all of the skills that we developed building a repeat and referral business with those people. The future belongs to those teams, right? That's who's going to win big picture. And why, to Ryan's point, I like the too big to fail analogy. If you build a database, 50, 60, 70,000 people, 6 to 7% of that database turns over alone a year. That gets you on real trends, right? Like 100%.
Get that award. Yay.
Yeah, that gets you on real trends, doing nothing other than keeping in contact with your database. But you have to keep in contact with your database. And if you don't, someone else will, right?
Don't click that blue button again.
Yeah. And then you're going to get pissed off that my client went on Zillow and did this. That doesn't happen. Like Kevin and Ashley, I'm sure, have tons of thoughts on this, right? But like, Kevin, go for it.
Look, if I lose a previous client, that's my fault.
Thank you. For the people in the back, that is like, it's really, really easy to like paint the boogeyman, right? But like your past clients, it's not that hard to keep in contact with them. You just have to be disciplined, right? I think that's huge. So that's the way I'd be looking at it. Don't look at this transactionally. Look at it as a way to build. And every client that you put across the finish line with Preferred, you should be trying to figure out how to turn that into 3 deals within the next 90 to 120 days.
Absolutely. So stay tuned on that. We're going to be going over that at 12:15 about after the closing, because that's what is so important here. When you're starting on, it's so weird that we're on Preferred almost 4 or Flex Preferred for 4 years. You just don't know how it all starts. And then you're like, okay, well, I just doubled my closings per month now. My past client reach out has to change because now it's at scale.
Yep.
And that's, and as an individual agent who's on Preferred as well, like you have to start thinking about like, how am I going to keep in contact now instead of just doing 10 deals a year? What if I'm doing 30 deals a year? Like getting ready to, keep that client in your database and in your sphere.
100%.
So,
Jeremiah, can I tap on that? This goes back to what Chris was saying about the importance of training these agents. A lot of people talk about the big 3R, the big 3Rs, right? Recruiting, retention, and revenue. On that retention piece, we can quantify the cost of advertising for the agents. We can quantify the cost of interviewing them, the cost of our systems and onboarding them. And we can even quantify the cost of the leads that we give them, right? But what nobody talks about is the shadow cost, right, that happens in our database when we give away thousands of leads each year to agents who don't necessarily follow up with them or connect with them the right way. And then we've got a database with that 20,000 leads we're talking about, that we're all very excited about. But we actually only built relationships with maybe 5% of them, 10% of them. None of them pick up our text messages or emails or our calls. And so we're not only doing the agents a favor by training them better and investing that time and putting in those, that infrastructure for them, but we're doing the health of our database a long-term, solid by making sure that everybody's building relationships with everybody, right? So yeah, you've got to train these people, and it'll feel, especially for those that this is the first time that they've had to build onboarding systems. Not a lot of brokerages get deep with their agents like that. And when they switch over to a team and all of a sudden it's like, they've got to put these programs in, maybe they have to make the decision to pay somebody a salary now for the first time to lead and manage this stuff. Yes, those might feel like costly investments, but when you think about the long-term, game on all this, they're necessary investments, right? Especially for all of those leaders right now that are thinking that they're going to stay in full production or half production, not calling anybody out here, Kevin. But on one side, yes, we can joke about, being a bad manager, but it hurts everybody, right? If there's not somebody there to really get in the trenches, sidelong with the agent and kind of help them build. And that's very different for many leaders in real estate where this is the first time that they'll be doing that.
I have a really easy little anecdote to take some of what Ryan said and make it tactical. Not that it wasn't tactical, Ryan. I'm a storyteller, Chris. Yeah. You use big words that confuse people like me. Something tactical that I would be thinking about, like, how do I know my agents are doing a good job staying in touch with their past clients? I have this thing I made up once upon a time, many moons ago, called the golden rule of lead nurturing, right? And if you go into Follow Up Boss, which I think a lot of us are on, if an agent wants to maintain ownership over a lead, even a past closing, which I know sounds crazy, right? But like, if you gave them that lead, that's your lead, right? They want to maintain ownership over any lead in their database. There's two things that have to be true with that lead at any given point in time. They have to have a call logged within the last 30 days, not a text, not an email, a call logged in the last 30 days. And they have to have a current follow-up task on that lead to justify ownership. If they don't have those things, that lead is at risk of being reassigned, right? And agents, if you tell them, hey, call all your past clients and you'll make lots of money and everything will be great, they won't move an inch, right? But if you say, hey, call logged in the last 30 days and a follow-up task current, or I'm going to reassign it, then all of a sudden people are moving mountains, right? So just some food for thought as a way to make that super tactical and something that we could all apply today.
Because there's nothing better as a team leader when you put a transaction under contract that was delivered to you 631 days ago.
Oh, it's a great feeling. Love it.
And then your agents are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, guys. Once again, that could have gone on for another 2 hours. So I want to thank Ryan Town, Chris Janos, Ashley Falkowski, and Kevin Saccone for taking some time out of your day and being here with us. I tell you, that was some good fire there going on. So I think right after this, guys, let's take a 5-minute break, run to the restroom and get a glass of water. And then we will come back and do tech, really practical things. And we all know that we all love FUB, don't we? And we're going to talk to agents who actually do love FUB. So here we go. Guys, once again, thank you so much for participating. And we'll take a 5 and we'll be right back. All right. Thanks so much.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
All right, guys. Like we said, we are going to hop off, take a fiver, and we will be right back. Let's say right around 10:33, we will get going. So I sure hope this is educational for everyone. I'm super excited to see that the viewers are still just continuing to go up. So that's great. So we haven't bored you to death. All right, and you're not sick of hearing me talking. So all right, guys, we'll be back in a bit. All right. All right, we're back. Sorry, that was not 5, that was 7 minutes. But if you don't know, I have 6 Cocker Spaniel dogs and 6 7-week-old puppies that were whining and yelling to go out. So I was like, I better do that before they ruin the whole thing. So the next panelists that are coming up, we're going to talk all about tech. Follow Up Boss is our friend, and let's get going. So first to the stage, we have Jessica Bertola, Ruben Concepcion, because that's what I always have to say, and Melissa Anderson is joining us back again. So welcome, guys. So introduce yourselves yet again, and then we'll go talk all about Follow Up Boss automations and best practices. This one, guys, is going to be very, very tactical. So if you're a new agent or an agent who feels like they're struggling on Follow Up Boss, these are some of the whizzes that win by with Follow Up Boss. So Justin, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Sure. How's it going, everybody? So my name is Justin Bertola, and I've been with JFK Living for about 2.5 years. I've been doing real estate for just about 5. And before I actually joined JFK Living, I was doing real estate out in Oregon, and that's kind of where I had my friends and family. So when I was coming over here, I interviewed a handful of teams and had a few conversations with Jeremiah before we decided to make the jump. My biggest concern was going to be lead generation, because I was coming here with no sphere. So the whole idea of joining a Zillow team and getting these leads and being able to really get tactical and figure out how to build that pipeline quickly was very important, because I was coming over here with just a little bit of change in my pocket, trying to make it work. So I just feel blessed that I found this team and have been able to gain so much experience. I went from doing about 8 transactions a year out in Oregon with just Sphere to coming here. And now this year, I'm supposed to close about 23 on my, second full year. So I'm very happy with the way that it's worked out. And, the tech is a big part of that, because if we didn't have the systems in place, it would be a lot more difficult to be able to really handle these leads and build up those relationships and continue to have meaningful conversations. So
absolutely. We are lucky to have you. Ruben, jump Concepcion.
Thank you. Sorry I don't have anything on my whiteboard here to present for you guys.
If you guys know me, I love whiteboards. I have whiteboards everywhere in the office. And if anybody wants to give me anything for Christmas, what do you need to get me?
Vibe board.
I'm dying for a vibe board. So sorry, Ruben, go for it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So my name is Ruben. I am the Director of Agent Growth and Success with the JFK Living team in South Jersey, as well as the Kollective. So the tech has definitely been a huge part of our team. It's definitely a conversation that I have, if not daily, then at least every other day with Jeremiah, about how we can use our tech, but not even just that, how to really use it to our best advantage. So it's definitely something I never thought I would be passionate about, but it's definitely something that definitely takes over a good portion of what I do, because at the end of the day, like, this is something that we find is just going to be super, super helpful, just to kind of give some direction to our agents. And like I said, so excited to really be here. I definitely have had my abilities of coming from different brokerages and different types of systems. So where I'm at right now, I kind of come back with a little bit of experience and ideas just from what other people have done. And a lot of what we do here is actually really, really exciting, just seeing what other people do out in the wild as well. Yes, really look forward to this.
Awesome. And Mel, go for it again for those who maybe missed you early on.
So I am a original member of the JFK Living.
Oh, she dropped that one. She's
the OG. I mean, I'm also related.
Core 4?
The Core 4.
Oh my God. Sorry, bro. If you're listening.
I know she's going to be mad, but I'm also Jeremiah's. I mean, he's our youngest brother. I mean, he's our younger brother. He's our only brother, but he's the youngest. So I have to take orders from him, which is not always easy to do. Or I tell you what to do. I mean, I guess it goes both ways. But, starting my 7th year in real estate, and if you told me I'd be in my 7th year, I'd I'd probably laugh because I tried to quit 300 times in my first year. Always had a foot out the door. So, my background is in construction and operations management, always with sales, was always a top performer in sales. So it was a natural transition into real estate. And if you don't know anything about me, I love houses, I love motorcycles, I love heavy metal, and I love my family.
Does that include me?
Sometimes. Prince of Boo Boo.
Uh-huh. All right.
He is the favorite child.
So follow-up boss, guys. So, a lot of teams that might be on here might be transitioning over to follow-up boss, or, they had follow-up boss before, but now they're on the, Zillow Preferred. So leads are coming in, like a fire hose. We all know that and if you don't know, if you have just launched or you haven't got a lead yet, there is a live phone call, and it's what we call a real-time tour, or an RTT. So let's just put that out there. If we abbreviate, because we all know that real estate agents love to abbreviate everything. So if you hear any of them say RTT, it's a real-time tour. So let's jump into it. The first, and this is really going to be tactical, that first phone call, right? And I'm going to start with Justin. That first phone call, we know ALM, we know what to do on that, or tell us what you do on that first phone call.
Yeah. So, I know this was kind of covered in the last section a little bit as well, but I think that it's important for everyone to kind of, just remember that you have to still show some sort of personality to really disarm the lead, because really, they're spending so much time on the phone with someone from Zillow already, just trying to get on the phone with an agent who can actually get them into the right place. So, you want to kind of find your own kind of system that's going to help disarm and really show them that you're here to help, but also just being very quick and concise with finding out their needs and getting that appointment scheduled, and also reminding them that you are an agent here and can help them with any properties. Sometimes I think that we forget that it's not common sense, and consumers go on to Zillow and just decide, oh, I'm going to hit this, get inside the door and check it out. So being able to, let them know that you are a one-stop shop, and that if there's any other properties that come up, or if any questions come up in the meantime, you're going to be their point of contact to be able to help them with that. And even, sometimes I'll even say, there's no need to go through Zillow again. I'm here to help. So let me know exactly what you need. I'm here for you. And that's the best way to really get in front of them and have them know, okay, I'm dealing with someone who knows what they're doing, who does this all the time, and is going to be there to help throughout the process.
Absolutely. I think that's because we all know, like, consumers do not know how Zillow works, right? Yeah. Like, I think we forget that as agents, even as time goes on, that they don't know that clicking that blue button, they're going to get connected with somebody. And like disarming them. And I think from that last segment, like Justin, you said, like, have a smile on your face when you're answering the phone, right? Yeah. You don't want to know, they want to know that you're a real person. So Mel, how do you when you're wrapping up that phone call, what do you think you do that like kind of really solidifies making sure that the appointment sticks?
So you're always reiterating, right? So, and you let them know what the next step is. The next step, once I get off the phone, is I'm going to be sending you a confirmation of our appointment so that you have it in your calendar, and you need to do it right away. This is very important. You may be on the road, you may be somewhere else, but you have to take the 2 to 3 seconds, get off the phone, send the golden text.
And what is that golden text, Mel?
So the golden text is, it's just letting them know, I have this appointment booked for XYZ at this time, your contact information, and you can send it through FUB as either a text message or a Zillow message, and I would recommend doing both. But you have to, they don't know what the next step is, right? So you have to lead them and set the expectations. So if you say you're going to message them, you need to message them a confirmation, put the appointment in FUB as well, and click the button that says email and text notification of the appointment. Put the address in the appointment. If you're showing them more than one home, put all of the addresses in the appointment. You're helping to generate excitement by showing that this is confirmed. I'm excited to show you this property. When I get off the phone, this is what you're going to get from me, and deliver.
I think that's the biggest thing. That is, if you tell somebody that you're going to do something, 100% of winning is actually doing it.
Yes.
Because so many think, oh yeah, I'll send that to you, XYZ, and hours go by, you've lost that connection that you have just built on that phone call.
Yeah. And you have to understand the client who's calling in is excited to see this home, right? They've reached out, they've pressed a button, they've gone through, a couple of minutes with someone on the phone. If it's, a real live connection, they're coming to you. And so you want to keep that excitement alive by confirming the appointment with them so they have something to look forward to.
Yeah. So, Ruben, outside of the an appointment and stuff like that, like how are you as the director of agent growth and success helping agents? Like, so talk about as a team lead, or maybe they have a sales manager. Like, what are you looking for on a day-to-day basis of how the agents are reaching out?
So that's probably like one of the really important things. So I mean, agents are going to do their best to work with that client and at that given time. But again, like the one great thing about working with receiving like preferred leads the way we do, and it's great that I've heard some people say, hey, listen, we try and cut off at like 10, because it does quickly become a very filled pipeline that you now need to kind of start working through and getting used to that cadence of how do I follow up, right? So like, not every lead you're going to receive is going to be this home run, ready to put an offer in on that first house tomorrow. But how do you find where they are and where do they belong? And what is your cadence on following up? And then again, and we can talk about this a little bit more later, but how do you use FUB to kind of help that? But what we really want to make sure is that we are moving these people along the funnel. I think Matt said it very early on in the summit, is like these clients are very high in the funnel. And to get them down to conversion, it's going to take some work. But are we actually able to identify where each of our clients are? So that's definitely on the agent to really know the client on a more personal level. But on a broad view for like what I do is to really look at, hey, here's the leads we're taking. Are we doing the ALM scripting? Are we hitting those? Are we tricking Zillow's AI to say that we are saying the script the way we should be? Are we asking the way we are? Are we building that rapport like Justin and Mel had both said? Like, we have somebody that's really excited about seeing this property. But listen, the goal at the end of the day, and I don't want to like dilute or discount what the client wants, but our goal here is to make an appointment. We want to see these people, right? So how many appointments are we setting from those connections? But that's great to have an appointment, but what are we doing to meet them? And then how many of these clients are we showing? And how many are we submitting offers? And when we start to kind of see a disconnect there, like that's where people like me and Jeremiah and a little bit more of your team leaders and just your leadership should be kind of that. These are coaching opportunities to come in and say, hey, what are we missing to kind of get these people along the way? Because at one point they click that button really excited or at least curious. How do we turn that curiosity into something?
Yeah.
And that's really where it's a really important piece. But again, it takes a lot getting used to from the agent to get used to that cadence, especially with the luxury of having our phone call ring to us. But a ringing phone call is not enough. And then how do we move that along?
Yeah, absolutely. So Mel and Justin, I want to ask you a question. And we have talked about this numerous of times. And I'm sure a lot of team leaders out there. What does your FUB number do for you?
It puts everything in one place. You told us to get rid of our text message, the button from like this screen down here.
Yeah.
This screen down here is my email, my FUB, and my Zillow app. That's
how it should look like, team leaders and agents.
If you are not living in FUB morning, noon, and night, how can you possibly stay on top of your lead flow?
Yeah.
And most importantly, serve clients at a very high level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're not used to a CRM, you need to get used to it. Think of it as this is your honeypot, right?
Mm.
The CRM is your honeypot. That's where all the gold is. You need to be in there, not chasing the penny that rolled down the street.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you need to be.
Yeah. Justin, how was it? Like, you came from, Sphere and past client referrals in Oregon, using your cell phone number.
Mm-hmm.
How was that transition to when you came onto the team and was like, your cell phone number is no longer on anything? It's not in Bright. It's not on your business cards. It's not on your for sale signs. It's not anywhere, but it's your follow-up boss number. What was the mindset that you thought going into it, and how has that helped in the last few years being on the team?
Sure. Well, the first portion that I think was the biggest benefit was that I was coming here with still an Oregon number. And when I call people around here, they see the number come up as Central Oregon. If I'm calling a lead here in South Jersey with an Oregon number, they're going to say, who the heck is calling me? So that was an easy, quick fix. But beyond that, I mean, using the FUB number for everything is going to keep us protected and also help in the back end. If for some reason you are busy and you're tied up, you take a phone call and it's a client that said something and you were in between showings and maybe you kind of forgot what the conversation was about. Everything's recorded on your follow-up boss number and text. Everything is there in your CRM. So you can review back, go back and actually listen to the phone call and then create your notes at a later time and make sure that you're cleaning that up. But it's really a great way to make sure that, you're saying the right thing, because you can always go back and listen to your phone call and say, did I come off the right way? Was that really the tone that I thought I was giving? And make sure that you are, saying the right things and handling objections really well. And I even go as far as putting in every single co-op agent that I ever work with. I even just have a phone conversation with. If I'm calling to see if I can get disclosures because they weren't on the MLS, I put that agent's name and number into my CRM. That way I already have it in there. And if they're calling me, I already know who's calling, and at the end of the day, we all know that agents will say things to each other and basically try and, just speed along the transaction. And sometimes, things might have gotten forgotten what was said. You can always go back and review and say, no, I'm pretty sure you said this and here's why. And so the follow-up boss number, it's just beyond just, having a local number. It's a huge protection to be able to, like I said, review conversations as well as, hold other people accountable as well if you've had these conversations and they want to go ahead and say that, no, you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think that's probably for a lot of people who might be coming into Follow-Up Boss or launching on Preferred. Using Follow-Up Boss number should be a non-negotiable. And that is my opinion. We have seen it help agents left and right. Like the CRM is everything. There's no more cell phone number that you have that are calling clients. So, Mel, real quick. So let's say after a showing, right? Okay, so we're going technical here. So we've done our ALM, we've done our golden text. Like, what do you do right after a showing to make sure that your pipeline is clean?
So it's very important to remember to change stages. You need to be disciplined about changing stages and putting people where they need to be. And the reason for that is your CRM is only as good as the input that you give it, right? So you have to be changing your stages. So let's say we meet someone and the house isn't for them. They're really just started. They're in research mode, right? So we need to know where to put that client in the funnel and what our outreach is going to look like for them, because that's different than the couple who's like, you know what, not the house for us, but XYZ, this is kind of like what we didn't like about it, what we did like, and they're ready to move on to go see other houses. So that's a buyer consultation, right? You're going to be booking the next appointment. Our next step is to sit down and go over how I can help you buy a home in New Jersey. We're going to set other showings, get you introduced to a lender, and get them through the next steps, right? Otherwise, your CRM doesn't work because you're going to have all these people in different stages that don't make sense, that don't apply to them, and you're going to be wasting time reading notes and trying to figure out where everybody's at. And that takes time away from serving clients at a high level. So move them and put them in the right stage before you drive away from the house.
Right there. Do not leave. Don't turn on the car until you put in right there.
That's why Follow-Up Boss should be front and center.
Yeah. And the best thing is you can voice to text your notes right into Follow-Up Boss about everything. So Ruben, question for you. What do you see? What's one feature in Follow-Up Boss that you think agents underuse?
A feature within Follow-Up Boss people underuse. To be honest, I would say it's task, making your own tasks. And this is where you now can start having the CRM work for you, depending where the client is. Like, it's insane. And we can really go into the weeds about what we find as best practices when it comes to smart list and what happens and what people tell you and when they want to come with you. But listen, people are going to be at different areas in their search when they're hitting that blue button. Like, guys, we are around this time of the holidays where people are visiting other family members from out of town and they want to maybe move to the area and they're clicking to visit a home right away, and we have the least barrier to get them there, and then they come meet with us to see this home, and I'm leaving back for Massachusetts tomorrow, but my plan is to move to South Jersey next summer. Mm-hmm. Well, that's fantastic. What are you doing with that information? Well, for me, I'm putting a task into Follow-Up Boss for that person that if they want to come this summer, I'm probably going to reach out to them in March or April. Hey, are these still your plans? If it is, I would love to sit with you. And this is all assuming they don't want to have that conversation in a driveway, or at least do it. Like, we can talk about that driveway conversation about trying to set that meeting up right away. But assuming they're like, listen, I'm just here, we're going to do it. Great. I'm setting up a meeting with you. I want to reach out to you in the spring, and you let them know you're going to do this and follow with what you're going to do. That I want to talk to you about, so you're best prepared, and set a task for yourself. Because guess what? It's December now. In March and April, you do not remember who Sally is that you met at 123 Main Street. you don't know who. Like, I'm promising you're going to talk to enough people. You're going to move on that you're probably just not going to remember everything about them. So use your notes, but set that task to say, hey, I need to reach out to this person. It goes into your calendar. And now, as you go through your day, as an agent should, to say day by day, saying, what am I supposed to do today? I'm supposed to be meeting out, calling this person to talk about moving to South Jersey and what areas might work for them. Like, just use that as opposed to saying, yeah, okay, great, we'll talk it then. You completely forget about them. And then guess what? You're going to get that notification that somebody is searching. And when you reach out to them, they started searching with somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. So tasks. And that is like, when you open up your CRM in the morning, start with your tasks. If it's done. Now, Justin, what's one feature of FUB that you think you might have underused before, but now you can't live without?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, talking about like follow-ups and, creating layers, because, making calls is obviously the most important, because you're not really going to be able to figure out where people are at just by sending them a text message. But to stay top of mind, the one thing that really helped me out was actually spending some time, probably once a month, I'll spend some time actually inputting and creating text templates and email templates with the merge field. That way I can quickly just kind of run through a lot of the people that maybe have mentioned that they're not ready yet, but to just send them, a quick text message that is going to keep me as the top of mind. And you fairly often get good responses, but it's a really easy way, using that tech to really be able to fly through a lot of the CRM when you really don't have a lot of time. And if you do it right, I mean, you could probably spend about 2 to 4 hours a week just kind of going through, calling the people that are popping up on the important list, touching base, calling the people that are maybe casually looking, and obviously the people that are in the car, but then focusing more time on new leads, as well as when you do have some downtime, then you can really dive deep into some of those nurture clients and just kind of give them a quick, hey, what's up, and share some value and go from there. And it really helps as well when, the holidays are coming up or interest rates are going down. You could use those text templates for anything that's really relevant in the day and in the month, and figure out, what you're going to do for the entire month as far as text templates all at one time really quickly.
Yeah. Awesome. And Mel, to you, what do you think is a feature that agents underuse, or what you did before and now you don't?
Scheduling text messages and emails, the schedule feature is huge, because I can work late at night, early in the morning. My clients, they may not know that I'm working, but I'm getting things set up before the day, can sometimes get away from you depending on what's going on. And so too, with what JB was saying, so depending on where people are at, if I need to schedule, a follow-up, I have my task, but let me go ahead and write that email or that text message right now and schedule it. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to think about it. And the other thing is if you have a showing booked with a new, I don't want to call them lead, with a new potential client that's like a week out, you need to be in front of them every day so that they are still excited for that appointment and it doesn't fizzle out. So scheduling text messages or, doing a Zillow message is very important too. So that's one thing that I learned, is that if the appointment is a little bit further out, you need to be in constant contact with them to continue that excitement. But definitely scheduling emails and text messages. I can work at 11 o'clock at night. My clients don't know that's my boundary time, right? Like, I'm not taking phone calls. I'm not doing anything, but I can work, schedule, and I get a lot more done.
Yeah. Because we always say, I'm sure every agent on here, okay, in the morning, I should send this text. I need to reach out to this person. I need to send them this email. Well, if you're still up and you're thinking about it right now, go and follow up us and schedule that text or that email to go out tomorrow morning. And you can actually then go to sleep without thinking about it and forgetting about it. Right? So absolutely. So, question, we'll go to Ruben here. How do you think agents should use smart lists to their advantage to be able to stay on top of every lead?
Listen, and this is something that is probably a constant work in progress, right? So we thought we had the answer a couple years ago with trying to identify where our clients are in, A, B, and C type clients. Who are the people that we really are in the car? They want to put an offer in right away, right? So we identify them. And then who are people that are maybe there, but not quite. But if the right thing comes along, so a little more B, and then we go into C, that they're just They're the nurture type. They're the ones that just tell you, hey, I'm a year, I'm 6 months away, reach out to me later. We thought we had a great idea of doing that, but at the end of the day, we started to realize that for us, we really got into, yes, they want to buy right now, or no, they don't. So we had a very empty B list. We had all these people in C's, and what was really happening with those C's is that when they went there to die.
Oh, yeah. For any team leader and agent, you do not want leads to go die somewhere.
And that's what, and you know, again, it was just a lot of testing. We thought we had this great thing where we made our agents really identify their clients, and it was great early on, and they just kind of went away. Now we can really use our smart list. That it doesn't have to be a static list. You don't have to put people in there and then they just stay there. Like, start using some of the filtering and like automation where it's going to start saying, hey, because this person is doing something, we're going to start putting them into this, like FUB and Zillow are telling you, hey, we're going to put them into this smart list for you.
Yeah. The Zillow tag, the Zillow smart list tag into the important list.
Yeah, so we really dove into Zillow's playbook, right? So we have what we call the important list, and we can go, and it's just that. This is somebody who's like, how are we using Smart List to help us? Well, we're using Smart List to look at our list and see who's raising their hand that day. Yeah. Who's somebody that's saying, hey, I'm interested in home buying, talk to me. Like, so we're going ahead and really taking advantage of that. And so we're really diving into, again, the playbook to use our smart list, that as they do an action, they receive a tag. That tag now identifies them to go into our important smart list. And then in the morning, you can go ahead and call that person because they did something. And we can be a little bit more focused with who we're using. Because again, I said this early on, your pipeline is going to grow. So instead of just randomly, alphabetically choosing who I'm going to call today, now I have a more focused approach, and you're going to probably have a higher rate of success and a higher rate of conversations.
Yeah.
As opposed to just getting a bunch of voicemails because you think you need to do something that day.
Exactly. And if some of the newer teams on your own, team leaders and agents, everybody has a follow-up boss rep, right? There are so many courses, and they will show you the playlist of what your smart list should look like. You guys, do your agents a favor, print it out and give it to them why these people are in certain smart lists. Because it will like pop into one of these smart lists and they're like, well, I called them, but it didn't go away. Like it might have been a tag or what have you. So always have that SOP, standard operating procedure, for your smart list as well.
Yeah, if I could piggyback on that, I think that was probably one of the best changes that we had this year, was implementing that important list, because it really does remove decision fatigue, right? I mean, there's so many times that you're like, okay, so I don't have any showings this morning. It's 9:30. I'm going to get in my CRM and start making calls. And you get overwhelmed. You start looking at how many people you haven't called within the month. You start looking at, all of the people that are in the car. You're like, well, I have to keep up on these people because there might be a new property to show them. They're probably active and looking. I want to make sure that I'm sending them the property before they see it. But if you have the right systems in place, they tell you who to focus your time on. And then once you get through that important list, and if you're doing this every single day, I mean, when you first start, if you're busy showing for a few days, you'll go into that important list. There's going to be 30 people. You're like, oh my God, I have to call 30 people. Not all of them are going to be ready for a call. Some of them are casual lookers. Some of them you've already put in your don't want list, but it gives you the ability to confidently know that things aren't going to slip through the cracks. And it's also a great kind of segue into figuring out which clients are ready to move out of the C stage into the B stage, or the B stage into the A stage. Because if they are constantly on and active and looking, you need to give them a call and remind them that you're there and that you want to reconnect and see where they're at in the process and figure out exactly where you need to put them. Because you can't, your systems won't work if you don't first meet the person where they're at and figure out where they need to be. But this is a great way for you to really just be able to focus on the people that are active and are doing something, sharing those listings with family members, looking at the same property 3 times. And it's the perfect opportunity to call them because they're active.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry, and I don't mean to cut you off, Jared, but I mean, like, here's the thing, and we say this all the time with our team and with the collective and the people we run into. If you're able to work through this list, and I promise you, like, it might look like 30 people, but as you go through it, you're going to start to learn. You're going to learn your clients who are the ones that are just constantly looking, that aren't actually ready to do something. So you did that one call, that's not somebody you actually need to do today. But at the end of the day, if you're able to call those 10 people, you can probably knock that out in the morning or whatever your structured time is for follow-ups and get it done relatively quickly. And I promise you, you've probably had a more productive day of real estate than the typical agent, because you've talked to the right people on a given time, in a given day. Like, that is where you're going to be able to do. And you're going to be able to kind of have something to go to that client with. It's great if you're going to go through your list, your database, and say, I'm calling because I just haven't talked to you in a while, just checking in, that doesn't do anything. But if I can call and say, hey, I see that you're searching. Listen, we plan to talk next month, but have your plans changed? Can we talk about these properties? Like, now you have substance based on what's going on with that action.
Yeah. Mel, you almost jumped in there for a second. What are your thoughts?
No, smart lists are so important because, like JB said, if you don't know where to start, you get overwhelmed and then you do nothing. And then you feel like crap.
Mindset comes back in again.
Mindset comes back in. You feel like crap. So the smart lists really help you to be intentional with your time. You are so productive. The clients generally appreciate the reach out because, you have to think, like, they're just not probably not obsessively thinking about real estate 100% of the time, right? And so when they are thinking about it, we want to be the ones that they think of when they're thinking about real estate. And the only way we can do that is to be in front of them and meet them where they're at. Smart lists help us to do that. If someone's shared a property with a family member, that's a pretty intentional thing that they're doing. If they viewed a property 13 times in one day, that might be a clue that we should probably talk to them about the property. If someone hasn't been searching, for 323 days and comes back and is now searching again, that's a great opportunity. They are inviting us by their activity to contact them.
I love, say that again.
They are inviting us to contact them based on their activity.
Don't be afraid. Like, I think a lot of agents are afraid that if they talk about a property that they just saw their client look at 13 times, oh, am I going to feel like Big Brother?
Yeah.
But we're in sales, guys.
Yeah, and it's not intrusive, right? What's the alternative?
You just don't call them, and then they're like, oh,
and then they go by with somebody else, and then you get mad because, oh my God, they were in my database, but they reached back out to Zillow, got somebody else, and closed with that person. It's your fault because you weren't available when they raised their hand.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something that you actually mentioned, I think it was like a year ago, Mel, that really stuck with me with when you are doing these follow-ups, especially for the people that aren't very active, but you do get them on the phone. It's important to, again, still set the next steps. You don't just say, okay, well then, we'll talk to you another time. Like, you want to let them know or ask them. And I've found 99 out of 100% of the time, this is not an issue. You can, at the end of the phone call, say, okay, so yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. You're on hold. I'm here when you're ready. But is it all right with you if I just call again in a couple of months and see where you're at and, see if there's anything I could do for you at that time? And every single time they say, yeah, that would be great. Because they click the button for a reason. They are interested in real estate, whether they're a year or 2 years out, you still want to stay top of mind. And when you do give them a call again, you can say, hey, it's me calling in like I said I would. And then you go into the adding the value and doing the check-in and following up on that important list on why they hit that list. And it just creates more of that relationship and that comfort, especially for the people that you never actually got to see the property with. We all know we have a lot of phone calls where they just want some information, or they said they're just kind of casually looking and the time wasn't available, or the house was already under contract. And then you're constantly just trying to get in front of them in a different way. And some people just won't make that initial visit for a very long time, but you want to make sure that they know that you're there and you're ready to help whenever that time comes.
You guys.
And don't be afraid to get a little personal. Find out about them. Yeah. Is there something that you have in common? Did they mention a dog? Do they have a kid? Do they like traveling? Do they like eating? I'm sure you can find something that you have in common that you can build some sort of rapport on. Yeah. And so it doesn't always have to be checking, I'm real estate focused, but it's, oh, hey, I remember last time you mentioned you were going to travel to XYZ. How was the trip? Blah, blah. Humans. Dealing with humans, if we could just remember that everything is great, the tech helps us, but these are humans. So please remember that.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I'm sure we could probably go on for hours and hours about Follow Up Boss, and it's just getting better and better. So Follow Up Boss, I would love a discount, but we know that's not happening, but we love Follow Up.
Discount.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap up this segment and we'll go right into the next one, because our panelists for next one. So Mel, Justin, Ruben, thank you so much. Continue to listen here, guys. We are going right into Zillow Home Loans. So thank you very much, guys. And we're heading right into the next segment. All right. So for our main stage, I might be a little biased, but I think this is the best growth advisor that Zillow has, Miss Venus Rosati. How you doing, Venus?
Hi, Jer. Thank you for that stellar intro. Appreciate it. You look snazzy over there.
I know, right? Just dressed up a little bit. Usually Venus sees me in my Zillow hat, scruff going on all crazy. But yes, gotta show up. Gotta show up for the people today. And also, we have a Zillow Home Loans officer, Andrea Plum, joining us as well. So we'll add her to the stage as well. And we will kick off a very informative ZHL best practices.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the intro, Jer. And hello, everyone. I can't see all your faces, but I'm sure you're all, it's weird, but I kind of like it.
It's weird. I know.
Super happy and honored to be speaking in front of you for this ZHL segment of the Collective Summit. I've been with Zillow for 6.5 years. And in that time, I've had the opportunity to coach and support many amazing teams within the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic region. I know we got a variety of folks on here, and we've got some Zillow Preferred partners too within the Philadelphia region on this call. So I just want to give a shout out for being here and being open to learning and collaborating with one another, because at the end of the day, this is a very unique and fruitful partnership where we at Zillow are learning just as much from you, right, as you are from us, and being boots on the ground and experts in your marketplace. So thank you for joining us for the ZHL Best Practices session.
Love it. Thank you, Venus. And Andrea, would you mind telling people a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, wonderful. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Plum. I've been with Zillow since April of last year. It's been quite a ride so far. A little bit of background about me. I've actually been in this business my entire career since 2001. I started on the mortgage side, spent many years in sales, and then transitioned into loss mitigation when we had a downturn in our industry. And then eventually found my way back to sales. And then in 2015, I was actually part of an MSA, part of the lending team that was sitting in a local luxury firm here in Newport Beach, California. And I had been there for many years and I had a lot of agents that were asking me if I would ever consider getting into real estate. And truth be told, I always knew that I would. I grew up in new homes. We watched all of our houses being built from the slab up, and my dad was a contractor. So we were really focused on real estate. On the weekends growing up, we would go to open houses and go to model homes, and that's what we did for sport. So it seemed like a very natural transition to eventually make my way into real estate. And so I did that in 2015, and I've been a pretty active real estate agent since 2015. And, rates dropped tremendously over the last couple of years, and everyone here in Southern California, we have very, very low inventory, and most people are rate locked at this point. And so with the changes in the market and some personal life changes, I had recently gotten engaged and moved out of my community, and now have 2 stepchildren and a big home. And it was just a big, big life change for me. So I found my way back to the side of the business, and it's been quite a ride. It's been really, really fun watching the evolution of Zillow in just the last year and a half that I've been here. And we're really excited for what's to come in the next couple of years, really.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a little bit of little bit about you, because that is like what we need is, finding those LOs that we can really have that personal connection. So I want to start off, Venus, with you about Zillow's mission.
Yes.
There's a lot of noise, guys. There's a lot of noise. Let's take out all of that noise because we have clients, humans, and Venus, go for it.
Yeah. So thanks for that segue, Jer. It's always important to touch on the what and the why, right? Like, why are we all here? And what are we all doing here, and why is it important, right? And I like to start with the what is Zillow trying to solve for, and how do agents fit into that mission? And what we believe to be true today and have the data to support is that the current home buying experience is extremely fragmented, right? The buyer is not having the ideal experience. And we are trying to build a one-stop shop of real estate, a more streamlined and easy approach for consumers. And in order to make that happen, we need to partner with the best agents, right, in every market, because there is no one at Zillow that knows your market better than you do. And we understand that the agent is at the core of every transaction. So why is this important? Well, a big part of the integrated transaction for home buying, right, is the financing piece and being able to streamline that key step in the home buying process. And we all know in this room that consumers love Zillow, right? And that is because Zillow was built on the foundation of the consumer being the North Star, right? Being the core consumer, being the core of it all, right? And the consumer value proposition has always remained the same, which is that we are helping connect consumers with agents who are committed to representing their best interest, and consumers maintain full step at every choice, right? From selecting an agent to the lender they choose to finance with. Our goal is to create a transparent and empowering experience. And we want to be able to equip buyers with insightful tools, affordability tools that better inform their home search, right? And enable you all as agents to also bring that value. And a couple ways that we're doing that, right? We do have our buyability tool on the Zillow app for consumers to kind of gauge how much they can afford. And then we have ZHL pre-approvals, right? As the next step for buyer confidence, right? That offers that official no obligation confirmation of a buyer's affordability so that you and our shared client have the confidence to move forward and be offer ready. And there is no obligation, right, for clients to finance with ZHL no matter which tools they use. But what we are asking for is the ability to give ZHL an at-bat or an opportunity, right, to have a conversation with our shared client and assist the buyer in understanding what are their options and what benefits of come with the ZHL pre-approval. And typically that comes from the agent's ability, right, to guide the consumer throughout the process. Because, I always say financing is not the sexiest part.
It is not.
I'm sorry, Andrew, but
dashing dreams here with these interest rates.
Right.
No, I was kidding.
But the agent relationship, right, with the consumer is the most meaningful, and agents are able to be that trusted advisor with their clients. And when they have great relationships with their lender partners, right, that conversation with the buyer becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. And I love that you even mentioned, the client has choice to work with us as the agent as well, right? We have seen some. Venus has given me reports of where some clients have not worked with us, and they've bought with other people, right? So there's always that element of choice, and it's just are we giving that opportunity or the service to earn their trust as an agent, and the same thing with Zillow Home Loans as well.
Yep.
So okay, I love that Venus took my questions and kind of twisted them a little bit and made them even better. So I'm gonna transition to some of the panel questions because I really want to dive into this. What do you guys think what are agent advantages of giving ZHL the opportunity, and what sets ZHL apart from other lenders?
I can start, and then maybe Andrea, if you maybe finish off.
Yeah.
So, as we all know, the verified pre-approval empowers both you as the agent and your client, right? With that greater clarity, confidence, efficiency through the home buying process. And so recent research shows that buyers who transact with Zillow Preferred Partners and fund with ZHL have a 13.5% faster offer to close timeline. So that's one thing that really sets ZHL apart from other lenders, is that we move fast with the verified no obligation pre-approval. And that allows you to submit stronger, more competitive offers. And in turn, right, this will reduce any surprise or delays and, faster closings. And I think on average, Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll close about 21 days on average. So,
or sooner.
Yeah, or sooner.
Yeah.
Well, and that's going to be very helpful in, like a lot of, yet I don't know where everybody is watching, but if you have a low inventory market that you are working in, and, timelines are a big thing that we're asking the listing agent, like, do they need a quick close? And being able to, like you said, Andrea, to be able to close quicker and with a verified pre-approval.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Funny, when I came to Zillow, I very much still have my real estate hat on. I still identify as a realtor. I know I've been on the mortgage side of the business much longer, but in thinking about coming to Zillow, I was vetting them like I would vet any other lender, and I took it very seriously because, quite frankly, I could work anywhere. I've been for a long time, and I felt like what separated us, I really didn't even understand how different we were as a lender compared to others until I started working here. And we have a 99% close on time rate, which is pretty unheard of in this business. The fact that we can close in 2 weeks is pretty unheard of in this business. And it really will elevate your offer and separate you from the others that are able, because most lenders are closing in 30 to 45 days. As this industry has evolved, it's become more difficult for buyers to get pre-approved. And so it's been super refreshing for me to come to Zillow, because we do verify everything up front. So it's a little bit more work for us as a beginning. We will not do verbals, but that's okay because there's no surprises on the back end. But more importantly, I think for me personally, what I have found so refreshing is that we do digital verification of the client's information. So we're not asking for tons of documentation. We're not asking them to send us updated documents as the next month's passing. And the buyers love that. And they don't even understand how frustrating it could be on the other side with other lenders, because it is not always the case with other lenders. In fact, most of the time the lenders are like twisting the buyers into a pretzel trying to get them all the documentation. And I've worked for those companies. And I mean, I would cringe when I'd have to send out another request for more documentation, knowing we don't really need that. So it's been, there are many reasons why Zillow is actually different. I'll say one more thing. I think internally what makes us far superior, I think, to a lot of the other lenders is the fact that we don't have, so as a loan officer, when I package up the file and I get ready to submit it, it literally gets a 1/over I have an assistant who goes through and makes sure that I check every T and dot every I, and then it goes directly to the underwriter. And that's totally different than any other lender. It always goes to a processor who holds the loan 3 to 5 days before it then gets to the underwriter, who then holds it for 3 to 5 days before we get any kind of answer. Okay. You are sometimes weeks into that transaction. And so with us, you're actually getting conditional loan approval within a couple of days. So if it's going to be a no, we're getting you a no quickly versus or we're getting you more than likely an approval, a conditional loan approval. And now you are surpassing the expectations of that seller and that listing agent. Every time we reach out and we're like, okay, conditionally loan approved, the listing agents are like, what? Really? Oh, awesome. And then that just kind of sets the tone for the entire transaction. So I love that. For me, it's been really nice because, on both sides of the business, I've experienced a lot of pain. My last transaction closed, my last listing closed 3 weeks late. It was so painful for all parties involved. It had nothing to do with the buyer. So it's been really refreshing to be here because that's not the case here. Yeah. And so, here I am a year and a half later because I just think that we have an overall, great comprehensive package for the buyer.
Yeah. So that is so refreshing to hear, especially, there's, we've always had, I'm looking at my own team, right? And seeing all the lenders that buyers have worked with. Like, I think there was 99 different lenders that our buyers this year have worked with, right? And we're like, oh my God, not that one again, not that one again. So being able to have that back end support and that communication for our clients and with the agent and the listing agent as well is just going to go such a long way to help our clients, right? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people, like when ZHL came out into our MSA last October, right? Venus, It was last October. There was a lot of angst about like how to introduce the LO, right? And I'm like, guys, we do this every day, but but how do you feel like, how can we, get to know our loan officers even better? And how can that handoff be even better, do you think, between the client, the agent, and the LO?
Yeah, I guess in answering that question, Jared, too, it's not so much specific to, there's parts of that question that I'll kind of, dive into it, Andrea.
You know me, honey, I'll throw 80 questions into one question.
Like you said, Jared, right? It's not so much specific to how do we introduce a ZHL loan officer, but rather how do we introduce a loan officer for that matter, yes. Right? Without putting any pressure on the client or making it feel forced. And so I think the important thing is to be able to build trust early, right? You want to start by learning about the buyer's timeline, concerns, goals, kind of like what Melissa was talking about, in the segment earlier, right? Reassure them that they're not alone in the process. And that makes the financing conversation feel like a natural next step rather than a sales pitch. So we always encourage the agent not to bring up financing until they're able to meet face-to-face with the buyer, and generally after they've been able to earn the right to ask about how they plan on paying for a home when they find a home that they love. And so, when you're demonstrating that competence, when you're meeting face-to-face, that in turn makes them much more receptive to your professional guidance. And I always say, you as the agent are in the driver's seat, right? You are driving the car and the consumer is in the passenger seat, meaning you don't ask them for directions. You have those directions because you know what to do and you know where to go. And so when you're at that first appointment, right, and you're walking them through their home and you're asking questions about their home search and their timeline and their goals, and you're providing value along the way about your market knowledge and, surrounding homes in the area, right? And you're ready to gauge their interest of the property. I think oftentimes, agents are nervous about having that financing conversation, but a great way to transition to that conversation is by first gauging their interest of the home, right? So asking, hey, Mr. Buyer, what do you think of this home on a scale of 1 through 10? What do you rate this home? Right? If they give you a low number, ask clarifying questions like, hey, added features would make that a 6 or a 7 for you. And great, when we find the perfect home for you, how do you plan on paying for that home, right? And typically that's a casual yet direct way of beginning to talk about the topic, right? And we all know, right, it would be a disservice to you as the agent to not know this information and properly guide the buyer throughout the home buying process as the driver of the transaction. So
I like that.
Yeah, mentioning the next step of getting a pre-approval early in the process, right? Ideally, while buyers are browsing or just starting out. And then you want to make sure that you elaborate on personalizing the introduction. You're welcome to use any lender you prefer. I work with a few great lender partners who do a fantastic job taking care of my clients. One of them is Andrea, right? She's wonderful at walking buyers through their options and can even do a soft credit pull. That way you can explore affordability without impacting your credit, right? And that builds trust because it gives them choice, right? But also, right, it gives them choice, but it also positions value of why they want to talk to Andrea. And so when you set those clear expectations, you want to let the buyer know what to expect from the loan officer. Why are you making that introduction? Right? I'm going to put you, me, and Andrea on a group chat so that she can help answer questions that you may not even know that you have. Right? And you'll get information on your buying power, which will give you the clarity that you need to continue your home search. Right? And that's when you can go into initiating the 3-way texts, so everything's tracked in our system. And, when you have a moment, give Andrea a call, right? And let her know what your conversation was like with the buyer and any helpful information that Andrea should know as she sort of picks up, where you left off.
Absolutely. And I think that information that can be shared with Andrea or any of our LOs, right? Like, it's not a, hey, please call. Right? Like, give some, just like we were talking in the last segment about doing voice to text notes and follow-up boss, right? Of, everything that happened at the showing. Do the same thing so that introduction can be so just like, they already have some of the information before that the element is. Because it'd be nice to just be like, oh, call, well, what if it's John and Mary? That might be on a call, and you don't even have to ask the spouse's name, right? Just go that extra step and really personalize the experience. Andrew, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I just wanted to make a couple suggestions. One suggestion in particular. I have a lot of agents now that will preemptively let me know that they're going out, doing showings with a new client, and they'll just let me know, hey, we're going to be wrapping things up in the next couple of hours, be on standby. And a lot of times when they're standing in that driveway, they're having that, buttoning up the showing, like finishing things up. Okay, next steps. At that point, when they're having that conversation, they're saying, do you have a lender? Okay, if not, I've got a couple of great lenders for you. Actually, we should call my girl Andrea, and so they'll call me while they're with that buyer. And I love that because that truly is a warm transfer. I mean, that gives me an opportunity to quickly vet them just right then and there. I'll ask a couple questions. We're laughing, we're just kind of like breaking the ice right then and there. And it's so much easier for me then to call that client later that afternoon or in the evening, because then it's like, it was so great meeting you or talking with you earlier today, and it's a totally different experience than if I just get a transfer through the system and there's like virtually no notes in there, and I'm calling the person going, hey, your agent told me to call you. You can act like we have done so much business together. Act like we are best friends, because all of our team on our end, we are doing the same. We are talking you up. We are acting like you are the bee's knees. You're the best agent we've ever worked with.
Yeah.
And what you need to remember is that, yes, we represent the brand Zillow Home Loans, but at the end of the day, I'm a loan officer. I've been in this business. I'm a real estate professional. I've been in this business for over 20 years. I am the person that you're going to be working with. I do represent this brand, but really at the end of the day, I am the service provider and the professional that's going to carry you across that finish line. And also, I will just say that, when I got into the business, it wasn't I mean, I got the majority of my business through referrals and repeat clients. My sphere of influence is really important. But the ones I did get that I didn't know, it wasn't even a question that I was going to have them get pre-approved. It's just the industry standard. And what I would share with them is, listen, this is the industry standard. You really have to go through this for a few reasons. For your own benefit, because you don't want to wait until you find the perfect house and then we're scrambling trying to get your pre-approval done, because so oftentimes there are things that come up that we have to work through, and we might not necessarily be able to spit it out in 30 minutes. We may have to get it pre-underwritten because there's complexity to the income. We want to set you up for success. And then on the opposite side of that, when I'm talking to that client, I oftentimes will get I'll have conversations with buyers where they're like, I don't even know why they gave me your information. I just tried to set up an appointment and now I'm talking to a lender and I'm not even sure if I'm ready. And so the conversation I often have with them is, listen, this is for your benefit, but also, to be quite honest, a lot of the listing agents are requiring pre-approval letters because they want to know that if their seller is going to get that home show ready and they're going to leave their home, that the person walking through that front door is qualified and able to actually buy that property. So it's good for you and it's good for the sellers. It's just going to help you, and then if you find the perfect home, we can pull the trigger like that because you're done. You already did the work.
It's about, like, a lot of the agents that talked about that in the last segment and even throughout the day was of letting the client know what the next steps are and building that relationship through every step that they take them through, right? It's like, this isn't a conversation we don't have with our sphere or open house leads or anything else like that, right? So it's about having those conversations and the confidence to be the next step is, and realistically, that is for the client's benefit, right? Like I always say, don't go look at puppies unless you have the money to buy one.
Right. Right.
And that's what happened when I got 6, and it's a whole thing. But that is just the thing. It's like, it's helping guide the client in a very professional manner to make sure that their wants and needs are taken care of. And that's what we have as agents. And yes, exactly, Mel, never look at puppies. But, and we have our lender partners with Zillow Home Loans where that can be a really nice, transition into, hey, you know what? You've decided to work with me, a Zillow Preferred agent. Let me introduce you to Andrea, my awesome LO. And you know what? Start there. Let's take that next step. Oh, Venus, I should have done the Circle of Trust shirt. I am.
Wow. We all should have done that today. That would have been
Oh my goodness, I missed a trick. Because at the end of the day, it's just helping that client, right? And having that pre-approval and a verified pre-approval, like Andrea said, like that goes a long way for the trust and of the listing agent, the buyer's agent, and their client to know exactly what they're looking for.
Yes. And the client, quite frankly, doesn't really know what's in their best interest. They don't realize that this pre-approval on the front end really is going to set them up for success. They just don't know. They don't know what they don't know. This is new for them. Everything about this is new for them. So on our end, when I finish their pre-approval, the conversation I'm having with them is, okay, so now you're free to go out and find your home. So next steps are going to be, and then I go into, here's what's going to happen. You're going to find your home. You're going to write an offer. You may negotiate for a few days, but in the end, you're going to have your EMD. And then I kind of go through, that's going to come off the top of the money that you owe closing. I kind of go through that whole thing. I tell them, make sure to get your deposit in right away. Don't wait till the very last minute. Talk to your agent. And so we're handing them back off to you so much like more prepared for what's to come. So it's not like what's happening. I mean, I'll break down like definitions of things. I'll say, you're going to hear this word quite a bit. Let me explain what this is to you. We'll do everything. And, that is my style, but that's actually our entire team. Like everyone on our team really enjoys working, especially with first-time home buyers, because you get an opportunity to imprint on someone's home buying journey, and they're never going to forget you, and you have one opportunity to do it right. And so we all really enjoy the educational part of this for the client. And so, yeah, it's special. You take a couple extra minutes with them, big deal, but you set them up for success. And then also it's a value prop, because now they're like holding on to you because you actually took the time to walk them through this, and they feel comfortable with you. So they're more likely going to come back to me, and in turn, I'm going to continue to usher them right back to you.
Because I wonder, and I wish, like, if anybody is in the comments, put a 1 that you got into real estate because your realtor was bad, and you're like, I can do this better than them. I did. I did, right? Because, being able to educate through, not only what we do as agents, but having those trusted, loan officers and the vendors that we all work with, and our, title and, home inspectors and all of that, is preparing the client for an amazing experience.
Yeah. And you want to give buyers more information, right? You want to allow them to shop smarter. And ultimately, whether our shared clients decide to go with ZHL or another lender partner, right? It's completely up to them. And we hope that, as this is a mutual partnership, that you're providing your lender partner at ZHL an opportunity to have that conversation with the buyer and earn their business. But what is really important is how you are setting the stage, right, for that conversation to happen. And not only to happen, but how to ensure there's a successful connection.
Yeah. And how would you think, what do you think is that best way to give that opportunity?
Yeah, so I think, the first financing conversation is obviously a key moment, right, for building trust, and the most effective agents focus on, offering that clarity and that transparency, and, focusing on the buyer's goals. So, you want to start by asking open-ended questions about their timeline, right, comfort level, what they already understand about the process, right? That kind of shows that you're there to support and not sell, and be transparent about why discussing financing early matters. And, I guess a good talk track is like, hey, one thing I always tell my buyers is that getting clarity on financing early helps protect you and make sure that we're looking at homes that fit your comfort level, and helps us move quickly if you fall in love with something, right? No pressure at all, just information up front so that there's no surprises later. And I think, when you explain that, right, that helps build trust, because it shows that you're protecting their interests. You're not just pushing a lender. You always want to lead with their needs first, right? I always have been saying that for as long as I've been at Zillow, right? You always want to put the customer's needs first, but also be that expert giving those directions. And then normalize their uncertainty as well, right? Like, if you feel like they're uncertain about, speaking with a loan officer or just moving to the next stage, like, normalize that. Be like, hey, most buyers I work with aren't 100% sure what they can afford at the start, and that's totally normal, right? But Andrew and I will make sure that you feel confident every step of the way.
Yeah.
And that'll reduce anxiety, right? And that builds rapport, because you're acknowledging how they're feeling. And I think it's really important to be able to acknowledge when you're sensing something, in that face-to-face meeting. And then, but you also want to make the buyer feel like they're in control, right? Like, let them know my job is to, put good information in front of you so that you can make the best decision for you and your family.
Yes.
Whether you end up renting, buying, or just exploring right now, like, I'm here to help you understand what's possible. And that talk track helps buyers relax, right? Not feel any pressure whatsoever in speaking with you. And that's key. I think when a consumer can genuinely see that even though you are the market expert, they're in control, but they have you there to guide them, and they want you to guide them because you are confident in what those next steps are.
Yeah. Like, even like one of the earliest segments today, we were talking about mindset, right? Where it's, we're helping our mutual clients with their biggest purchase of their life. Mm-hmm. This is where I think a study just came out that 52% of buyers are looking at homes of how they are going to do holidays, right? Yeah. So it's like, it's such a special time. So preparing them for the best possible outcome for their dreams and just preparing them and letting them know that, yes, we have some amazing partners that can help guide them along the way. Because I'm sure, Andrea, you've seen these New Jersey taxes over here, right? Like, you might be able to afford that $400,000, but heaven forbid those taxes are over 10, you know? And that is just the biggest thing. I'm sure you've seen before is you could get a pre-approval, but when they're seeing that monthly, mortgage payment, they're not that comfortable. So we're, being able to come down with that. So you don't have to go to the end of like the tippy top, but not having that pre-approval, that's something that's verified, somebody who's been able to go over the numbers with them is, setting them up for, not the right thing. So preparing is great.
When I'm having conversations with clients about pricing, the conversation, the talk track isn't about like, we can get you pre-approved for $500,000. It's, here's your range. Does this feel comfortable for you?
Yes.
What are you like? What feels more uncomfortable? Like, we have options. I can structure this however it is that you want. So are you more concerned about your total cash out of pocket at the end, or are you more concerned about that monthly payment? Yeah. So, and then let's find the sweet spot in between this, right? But I always, I try to always use the terms like comfortable. Does that feel comfortable? Like, if you could change this, how would you change it? Because at the end of the day, like Mel always says, a confident and comfortable client is a happy client, and that's what our job is. And it's really our job to kind of see through that, because they might be saying yes while they're like nodding no. So,
they have a pit in their stomach. They're like, oh no.
Yeah. And so, we want to have honest conversations with clients. We want them to feel good about this. I want them to get off the phone and feel like, yes, I can buy this house. I'm ready to do this. And oftentimes we'll have a conversation. I'll say, do you want to sleep on it? Like, let's just talk tomorrow. Like, let me know your thoughts. I mean, if we want to change it, we always can.
Yeah.
You're not committed to anything. You're not even committed once you get in, once we get you pre-approved, you can go on and change your terms. And, so that's the most important, I think, is just finding that sweet spot where they're like, okay, I'm comfortable here. And they'll say, ideally, like, I'd like the payment to be $50 less. And I'll go, okay, let's work these numbers. Even if it's $50, we'll figure out a way to get it done.
Move to Pennsylvania. You guys, like, I'm so happy that, Andrea, you were able to come on today. But I'm kind of sad because now your phone is going to be ringing all the time. Maybe we kind of, I had Andrea over here for our team. Now all the preferred partners and their agents are just going to love you with the amount of care that you are bringing to our clients, and just knowing, like, being able to spend this time with you, like, really helps us build those relationships, right? And it's just, I want to thank both Venus and Ingrid for coming on today. Like, we are, and I'm sure everybody that's on here are very, very proud to be a partner of Zillow's. And I tell you guys, growth advisors, they do care. The loan officers care about our business. Like, I've only had two on the flex side, JR, Rockstar, and then we had Venus. Like, hey, I sent him a text, but I'm like, oh my God, sky's falling. Everybody's there. So, lean into your growth advisors, lean into your LOs, have a conversation, bring them into your team meetings.
Yeah, we love that.
Like,
we want
to build that relationship.
Yeah, I think sometimes agents are scared to or partners are scared to kind of proactively reach out. Like, we operate much different than a national lender, that you have direct access, right, to our loan officers. Like, we want you to have that relationship. We have 4 loan officers in the state of New Jersey that are dedicated to you, right? And we want you to be able to build that relationship. And Jared, you kind of joked around about Andrea being so, like, about to get bombarded. But, what Andrea mentioned earlier is like, give her a call, tell her about the appointment that you went on, like, so she can get to know you too, right? So that way she knows when a call or text or anything comes in, from you. Like, she's like, oh yeah, like I know that agent, right? We talk all the time. She always keeps me in the loop. Like, it's, it's no different. It's no different than, your local lender, building that relationship with people. You just got to want to do it, and understand that we are all on your team. Like, Jeremiah, I know you know this, like, and I said this earlier, right? You know your marketplace better than anybody else. And we also need to know what's happening. Like, when you're sharing that feedback, you best believe I'm sharing that up the chain. And I tell all my partners that, like, it's a partnership, right? We're not perfect, right? We learn as we go. Yes. We're going to make mistakes, just like you're probably going to make mistakes, right? We're all human, as Jared, you mentioned earlier. Like, this is not a transaction. We're all human. This is a relationship business. And, we all care about your success, because we're all in this together.
Mic drop. I think that is how we wrap that up, because I couldn't have ended this session any better. So you guys, Venus, Andrea, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you guys are super, super busy. I really appreciate it. You guys, like, let's just continue to build this partnership and coming on here and helping clients, and we're all human. So
that's the name of the game. Yep.
All right, Venus, Andrea, thank you so much, guys. Thank you. All right. Have a good afternoon. All right. Bye-bye. All righty. So that was a great segment with Venus and Andrea from Zillow Home Loan, or Andrea from Zillow Home Loans, and Venus, our growth advisor here at Zillow. There are, I believe, now 3 growth advisors. So JR, Gina, if I believe, and of course, Venus here in the Philadelphia MSA. So thank you for all who they might have sent this this invitation out. Like, thank you guys as well, and that continued support. So that was 2 great sessions. So it is 11:55. We're going to jump, because we're a little bit early, and I see my panelists backstage already. So we're going to go right into it, but we're going to take a 3-minute break. Run to the restroom, and we will be back at smack dab. You guys, right at 12. Okay. All right. See you then. And we are back for our last segment of the day. So, so we have two people coming in that probably have to listen to me rant and rave and do all the things pretty much every single day. I think Steph, she was eating her dinner last night, and then she got a text message from me about, hey, Steph, I need you to do like 40 different things. That's usually what I do. And so Steph is our marketing manager here at JFK Living. And the next is the one that really has to listen to me all day long and all night long is my dear husband, Philip Pip Hacks.
Philip.
I know, right? Welcome, guys. So we've talked a lot today about, top of funnel, Zillow, but at the same time, we're going to bring this really back to the human element about after the closing, right? Because at the end of the day, we've all talked about it. It's, these are humans, these are clients. We are helping them with the biggest purchase of their life, but we've also sometimes paid a hefty referral fee. And let's just put it out there. It's a hefty referral fee. But so let's talk about after the closing. So and how some agents do not have to use Zillow anymore. So
case in point.
Right here. So you guys, Pip, tell them a little bit about yourself and kind of like how we started in real estate and where you are at now.
Yeah, well, I'm currently sat at the closing table. I literally just had a closing about half an hour ago with some clients. But I started my journey into real estate. I got licensed in July 2018, just shortly after you. I know Mel and we actually trained together at the same real estate school. And I was actually just thinking about this, like when Steph joined us as well back in 2020, right at the height of COVID. And it was you and I, Mel, Justin McGinley, and we were all just trying to figure out, we were all really we were baby agents trying to figure all this out, relying very heavily at the time on our Zillow leads coming in so we could get business. As you can tell, I'm not from here, didn't know anybody. This really is like the best way of getting leads quickly. But we also recognized that we wanted to give back to our community, highlight local businesses, and really create an exceptional experience for our clients that went beyond the transaction. And I think that's where we've really won with our business. And now I am very lucky. I think I've worked with one Zillow Flex lead this year. Having said that, I will close out the year probably around 48 transactions. And it's all been from reviews that we've gathered from people, repeat business, and then referrals from the base of clients that I've grown to become friends with many of them, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely about the steps after the closing. So Steph, you were really instrumental into making sure that we had a process. A lot of agents who have come on or are now like really ramping up their business, they need a process of aftercare, right? We of staying in contact with those clients. So what is one thing that you've put into place for us here at JFK Living to make sure that we're staying top of mind for our clients?
So I was in the unique situation where rather than working with one agent, I was working with a whole team, and I can't force everyone to do all the things I want them to do.
None of us can, Steph. It's okay.
I don't even do most of the things Steph do.
I created a series of email templates. So anytime that we had an event, an activity, a pop by or something going on, I had a cadence of emails going out that thankfully, due to Follow-Up Boss, I could use a merge field and it would look like it's coming from the agent. So I could just type up 1 email or 2 emails or 3 emails and it would look like it's coming from the agent. So then it takes that off their plate. And then all I would then do is task them to individually send a text as well. So it's kind of coming from multiple angles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not just, hey, I'm going to do a pop by, but we are leading up to that pop by. We are letting the client know what is happening beforehand and then after.
Do you want me to do my little presentation?
Yes. See if you can.
Yeah. Let's do it, Steph.
I've got my emotional support slide deck because so I'm going to see, how do I share screen?
Okay. We did not test this out. So no, we did not. Steph, did you send it to me?
I think I did. Hang on, let me.
Because if not. So while me and Steph are getting the slide deck here for you, Pip, talk about some meaningful relationships that you have built from, past clients and how to stay in contact with them.
So I actually utilize social media a lot, actually, as a tool for keeping in contact with my clients as well. I friend them on Facebook. I follow them on Instagram. I make sure they're following me on Instagram. It's a good way, of staying top of mind. I can kind of see what's going on in their life. And then it's just a simple case of commenting, DMing, reaching out. You see when it's their birthday, you drop them a quick text message. I'm actually thinking about my clients, Grace and Veronica, who I just got them under contract yesterday. This will be their 3rd transaction. Grayson was my very, very, very first client that I ever worked with. He came in as a rental lead. And I took him out to go look at a few homes. At the time, he's like, actually, no, I'm not quite ready to rent. I'm going to wait a little bit. And then he reached out maybe a couple or so years later. And he's like, okay, I think I'm ready now to buy our first home. So took them out, did a lot of shopping, took a few months. We got them under contract, found their first home. Great. We just built up such a good rapport with him, with his parents, with his sister. We ended up getting invited to their wedding, which we went to. We became very good friends with them. We took them out to dinner. And then they decided they wanted to move to South Carolina. So I listed their home last year. Well, guess what? 1 year later, they're like, South Carolina's not for us. So again, we're back into
South Carolina. If anybody is watching from here, no beef. It just wasn't for them. They love Jersey.
So that's just one example that I can think of where we just sort of had that very natural relationship. And from that, I actually helped his sister buy a home, Kristen. And I know his parents at one stage when they're going to be moving from their house, they'll be using me to list their home. And all of a sudden, this one singular relationship that we had sort of blossomed into this whole multiple level. I'm like the family realtor now. And a lot of it just becomes from you have to be genuine. You have to. And listen, I don't form this level of relationship with all of my clients. Sometimes you're really trying and it's just you're sort of butting heads and you're like, okay, we're just not the transaction's fine. We give good service, but we're just not sort of vibing. But the people that you do vibe with, those are the ones that you really want to maintain a good relationship with, because they will be the ones that will refer you the business. And anytime you just say, hey, do you guys would you guys mind leaving me a review over here? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And they'll do it. Those are the people that you want to love on and stay in contact with and build those relationships with.
Yeah. It's finding, we always say, your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So when you're able to really connect with, those clients, those are the ones, those are the ones that and it doesn't feel like I don't want to say the word chore or a task to reach out. You are genuinely wanting to reach out.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do. You have to want it. And I will say this, if you have the personality type where you struggle to form relationships with people, whatever we're talking about right now might not be the system for you, but that's where, you know, Zillow is great because the phone will always ring and you'll always have a new transaction, but just bear in mind, you will always be paying that referral fee as a consequence of it. But if you come from a place of care and compassion, and actually form these genuine relationships, you can absolutely move your business from the Zillow system that will build your pipeline and build a really phenomenal business over here. And let me tell you, when you get over here, it feels, yeah, I'm probably going to swear, it feels really fucking good.
I went this whole time with not one swear word, and then of course,
and then the Brit comes in.
Okay, they're both British guys. They're already. I might have a thing for Brits. I don't know.
I got my slides. Do you want me to go into them, Jer?
Can you present?
I can present.
Oh, awesome. Go for it.
Okay, can you? No, that's not right.
You guys, this is
my
why
note screen.
we have Steph, because I couldn't figure it out.
Okay, see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yep.
Go for it.
All right, so my little emotional support slides, because I need my data and my stats. So I did a dive of our database because I wanted to know what we're working with. So we have 746 close clients in the JFK Living team database right now, and that number grows all the time. We have 106 referrals, so people in our database whose source is referral. We haven't always been as fastidious as with data keeping, so I'm sure there are more referrals than that, but I know for a minimum we have 106. So let's just, you know, that's the number I'm working with. So I wanted to divide up those referrals into the past 3 years and then the 3 years before that. So the past 6 years, we've had a total of 100 referrals, and the other 6 were the year before 2019. So in the past 3 years, we had 67 referrals enter our database, and then the 3 years before that was 33. So obviously that's 103% increase. And the reason why I chose that cutoff as 3 years, 2022, is because I would say that's when we really started focusing on past client retention for reviews, referrals, and repeat business. So that is a fantastic percentage increase. And I feel like in 2025, we have gone even further to nurture our client relationships. So I do expect this number to continually grow. So 2022, that is when we first started, I would say, treating our events and pop buys as full-on marketing campaigns rather than just one-off single events. So we started documenting everything on social media, all the lead up, the prep that went into every event. We hired photographers to capture these events so that after the fact, they would give us a photo album, and then we'd have a good tangible reason to reach out to everyone who attended. And then we also, which is what I touched on before, we started doing this. So before, during, and after, emails about every single pop buy and every single event, sending them out to our whole client list. So this email you're seeing here, that is just the first in a campaign that is teasing out a gift that we mailed out to our clients. So you can see on the right-hand side, the gift was a fridge magnet, and it had the Eagles football schedule for 2025 on it. We sent that out, I think, in August. So we sent 2 emails out in advance to everyone receiving this, letting them know that something was inbound so that people could start getting excited and start looking out for it. We sent 1 email out on the day that we expected it to be delivered to their inbox, their mailbox, so they could check their mailbox. And then 1 email went out a few days later, checking that they definitely received it. And it also doubled up as a save the date for our next client event. And we also tasked the agents to text our clients as well with a more personal message, so that, as I said, it's coming from multiple angles. So this campaign involved 424 of our clients. It's not every single close client, just the ones we had our agents go through the list and say, who do you want to receive this? We had an 85% open rate on these emails that got sent out. So a study by Constant Contact in the real estate industry revealed that A typical open rate is about 30 to 40%. We had 85%. And this is the result of building that trust with past clients. They want to open our emails because they know that we don't spam them. Now, obviously, that was just a small gift. That was a very short timeline of communications. So I also want to look at a longer timeline that involved a lot more communications going out. And so this year, for the first time, we held a Kentucky Derby Day party that was May 3rd. So this was a big event. It took a lot of planning. As you can see, there is a much longer timeline of emails that went out to our clients about this event. So the event was May 3rd. February 26th, which is what, 2 months earlier, that was when the save the date went out. So obviously that is far in advance. We wanted everyone to have this date in their calendars, know something was coming. A week later after that, I sent out more information to all the clients with a link to the Eventbrite so that they could start signing up, RSVPing. A week after that, another reminder. A week after that, we had one of our sponsors, which was a store in town. We had a discount code from them, which we sent out to everyone saying, if you want to get dressed up for Derby Day, go down, you get like 10 or 15% off. I can't remember what it was. We sent out another email about Derby Day fun facts. That was actually one of our most opened emails. We were fundraising for a charity because of this event. So I sent out another email about that charity. And then, as I said, the event was May 3rd. The day before, there was a reminder saying, see you tomorrow. Then we had the event. And then the very next day, I sent out an email to everyone. And I said, if you had a good time at this event, would you consider leaving us a 5-star review on our Google? And then a few days after that, when we had the professional photographer send the photos back in, I sent out a link to that album and then a reminder of that review request if they haven't done so already. So obviously this looks like a lot of emails, but you can see how it was planned well in advance. They were very spread out, different bits of information, different bits of value. The email invite was to 834 clients. We had an 86% open rate throughout this whole thing. And I can't nail down exactly how many reviews we had just because of this, because obviously we have reviews coming in all the time. But I want to say it's about 10 to 15 reviews we had in the aftermath of that event. So very happy with that.
And as well as that, Steph, like I'll pause you just there because I sort of want to add in, as well as like, you know, this really fantastic email campaign that we have going on, we also have the social media that goes alongside that. So all the social media we're putting out in the run up to it, during and afterwards as well. We also sent invitations out to the neighborhood because it was a block party outside of our house on Melrose Avenue in Haddon Township. And so we invited strangers to the event as well, who then mixed with some of our clients. So it's so interesting when you kind of like amalgamate your community with your client database, an event that everyone is like on board with, and it has this really impactful compounding effect. But as you can see, it's like, I think sometimes when people miss the point of an event, well, they'll do the event, but it's all the other things that is the run up to the event and after the event. So you really maximize what you're doing.
Yes, treating it as a whole marketing campaign. It's not one singular thing. It is using that event and harnessing all of that activity around it to put things out on social, to put things out, emails to your clients, you know, wherever you can. So yeah, obviously, you know, this is a very big event. We're not going to expect every single agent to be able to put on something of this size. But even if this was only a small thing, there could still be 3 emails. There could still be a few social media posts. So as I said, obviously, yeah, we had this event May 3rd. You'll notice that in that cadence of emails, that when it came to asking for the favor, which in this case was the review, it was after the event. And that same goes for pop buys and gifts. So the ask comes before, the ask comes after the give. So this is what one ask looks like. So towards the end of one of these emails, I've got, now I have just one tiny favor to ask. Would you leave us a review about the event over on our Google page? Naturally, mentioning our real estate expertise in the review helps too. Your feedback helps us plan even more fun community shindigs in the future. Drop your review here. So I've reiterated the review link twice, so they definitely don't miss it. And I've kind of just like brought in the client and made them feel like they're really helping us out by leaving us that review. And then another example, this was in a different email campaign. So one last thing, do you still check out Zillow from time to time, as we all do? You should be aware that it's very easy to pair with a new agent on the site or app. If you love working with me, it's really easy to friend me to ensure you never lose me. All you have to do is visit my Zillow profile where you're logged in and hit add as your agent. And then the code at the bottom, which is agent merge field, that is where because this is being sent out on behalf of all of the agents on our team, that puts in their Zillow URL profile link. And I have just put a QR code here because if you don't know how you can create a merge field that includes your Zillow profile link, there's a little Loom video I made that's exactly how you can do this. So if you want to scan that, or if for whatever reason the QR code doesn't work, just email steph@jfkliving.com and ask me for it. But yeah, so that is just a quick roundup of how we have had success, essentially harvesting our existing clients for referrals, reviews. Because if you're giving Zillow this 40% commission for each client, your focus should be turning that one client into, at least 3 more. So we've been using multiple touchpoint campaigns. It's enabled our agents to not only get 5-star reviews, but it's also kept the agents top of mind with these clients so that we have a, growing percentage of referrals we're working with. So,
we've got a very robust event and gift giving strategy that we have on throughout the year. So, we have our Valentine's chocolates pop by that we do for Valentine's Day in February. We now have our Derby Day party. We have Haddon Township Pride. We have done movie nights in the park. We've done the Eagles calendar pop by in September. And then we have our big sort of end of year, what we call our pity party, PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance. Everyone deserves a pity party. And, we've been doing that. What's that?
I was having one this morning.
Yeah, did a little bit. So, we have this, regimented system of either events or pop buys throughout the year to make sure that we are pretty much staying top of mind throughout this whole year. I've gotten to the stage now where I've got so many of my own personal past clients. We have the team overall. It's starting to get a little costly sometimes, I have to admit. So that's something to bear in mind. Everyone's like, well, I don't want to pay Zillow a 40% referral fee. This requires an input of money as well. So it's not a free system, but the benefits of it, I think, are so wonderful, particularly what you can put out on social media as a consequence of it. But I've even started thinking about what can I do for smaller events? If you are thinking about, okay, I want to do something for my clients, but I maybe haven't got the budget for it. Or maybe I don't have too many clients right now, or I've just got a really good core of my super love clients. I did an ice cream social the other day down at Scoop DeVille. And all I did was I went up, I said, hey, can I sort of put my credit card behind for 2 hours? And I invited clients along. I sent out, 2-3 emails ahead of time. I had 20 people show up, but from that, I had 2 great conversations with people about potential referrals or repeat business coming up. And it cost $200? And all I had to do was show up.
Can I give my little hack as well?
What's that?
Can I give my little hack as well?
Love it.
Yeah, go for it, Steph.
Piggyback off an existing event. We did that movie night. So Collingswood, a town near us, they put on a movie night in the park, and it could be any event that your town is putting on. Just invite your own clients to it and just set up a little table. We had a picnic, and then after, we had everyone come an hour or 2 before the movie started, and then we packed it all away, and then people went to watch the movie or they went home.
It was great. It was so easy to do.
It was so cheap.
I feel like it's that beginning scene in Bridesmaids where they're exercising behind the tree.
And that's the whole thing. As individual agents and teams, you guys, Zillow Preferred is going to ramp up the amount of past clients you have.
It's a jumping off point.
It's a jumping off point, right? And we've seen agents, and this has been talked about before, where it can really streamline or bring down the amount of time that you are, building your business. It literally catapults your business forward to a level that, you can take 3 years and compress it into 1 year. But then it's like, how do you build on those clients? Because you paid a premium for that client. Now, how do you build that relationship to continue and giving value over and over again, so they will refer you and review you as well, and come to your parties and open your emails?
Yeah, it's all about staying top of mind, being present for them, trying to give them value within the real estate space as well, but ultimately just building relationships with them. I think that's really the most important thing that you can do. And like I said, if that's really not your wheelhouse, just keep picking up the phone and answering the Zillow calls. That's also fine as well if you want to run a business like that. I know we've had agents on the team where that's not their wheelhouse, so they just keep answering the phone and that's it. But if you've got it within you where you can create those genuine connections with people, you can absolutely utilize this tool really successfully in the beginning to kind of get you over here in a really short space of time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes.
That's right, Mel. They are humans, yes.
So, unfortunately, Anthony Scornianchi couldn't make it today. He is an agent on our team. He's actually a dual agent. And I did do a bit of a recording with him yesterday in ramp up to this. So I'm not going to play the whole thing, because I think, kind of this conversation and all of today's was already brought up. But let me see you guys continue to talk about how to build better client referrals. And let me bring up that video real quick. So I'm going to meet
Oh, us too? Okay.
Oh, so okay. All right.
Thanks.
Flipping stuff.
Okay. So pick one client event, pick one potluck for 2026, create simple email cadence around them.
For me, make sure you are following your clients on social media. Make sure they are following you on social media. So whatever you are posting on a regular basis, they're seeing what you're doing. And anytime you see any memorable moments in their life, or not memorable moments, just make sure you're being social with them, commenting, liking, DMing. That for me, I think has been a huge part of my success, is that I'm just kind of staying in contact in a really informal and social way.
Sky Michaels recommended that rather than just following them on social media or on Instagram, go and add them to your favorites. Because when you open up Instagram, which feed you see, you can choose just your favorites or just your follows. And then, so rather than getting all the noise of other realtors or ads or whatever, you have just the people who are your favorites or who you follow. And then that's an easy, deep, go scroll through them and find those memorable moments, and then reach out to your clients. If you don't know what to say and you need to call someone, find something that they've done.
Right.
Talk about it.
And sometimes people get a little awkward about, like, okay, say you had a transaction and it was over a few months ago. Like, how do you then reach out to your client and be like, oh, can you follow me on social media? Like, maybe that's a little bit weird, right? So a couple of other things that you could do, like we are doing a 31 Day of Joy challenge with the team right now, where every day we are posting something joyful. And I suggested it. I said, well, why don't you kind of like get your clients involved? So what a great way to reach out to your past clients. Hey, I'm doing this challenge. Would you like to get involved? Follow along on social media. If you do get involved, make sure you tag me. And I know JB had huge success. He said he had about 10 new follows from his past clients so he's kind of then engaging them on social media. So super easy way of
also start banking photos of your clients in the transactions. If you have a photo at the closing table, or if you have a photo that you've taken a selfie with your clients during the walkthrough or whatever, go on Google Drive, create a client photos folder, and then under that folder create subfolders and name all of your clients and put all those photos in there. So that then you have a reason, you can go and download that photo at the closing table, you can go and post it on social, and you can tag them, and that is a good prompt that they will then follow you back.
Yes. And also, just finally, before you get going, Jer, with your next bit with me, if you're trying to get more reviews from people as well, I know we kind of get caught up in that, you know, at the closing table, it can be a little hectic, people are moving and whatnot. And if somebody says, yes, I'll leave you a review, and maybe they forget and a few weeks or months have passed by, I've been using this text prompt to people where I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get like 25 more reviews before the end of the year. I'm setting myself a challenge. Can you help me? When you use that language and you kind of put that emphasis of kind of like, it's a little challenge here, I have had such good success of having people trying to sign up just by sending that out. So I challenge anyone who's listening right now, if you've got clients who've not left you a review, use that exact language. Hey, I'm trying to get 25 more reviews before the end of the year. Can you help me out? I bet you will get some more reviews on your Google site or Zillow site, or whichever one you choose.
Reviews should be everywhere.
The 3 R's: reviews, repeat business, and referrals. That's what we're all striving for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the file is corrupt. My MP4 is corrupt. Okay, guys, if you know something about me, I'm actually really good at technology. Follow Up Boss and all the tech in real estate. You put me in front of a camera. I was trying to do my little edits with Instagram last night. I'm like, damn, how do I do this? I'm really, really bad at it. So I just threw it up. No captions, no nothing. Anyway. So you guys, that's Collective Summit 2025. I sure hope this has been an amazing day. If there's any questions, hey guys, if any of the panelists are still on and you have the panelist link, come jump in backstage and we'll put you on screen here. And if anybody has some questions, like, please put it in the chat. Like, no question is like off limits. As long as it's positive, because it's joyful. It's 31.
That's right. 31 days of joy.
Joy.
I actually just want to take a little moment to recognize you, Jeremiah. I know we are married and we've been in this business, growing it from the ground up from day one. You have put so much time and effort into the collective and this summit. And I'm incredibly proud of you. And I think you've done a fantastic job today with everything. So I just wanted to take a moment to say well done.
You know, I could do that.
Oh, look at everybody now relax. For me to be able to relax. And you guys, like, let's see, you know, it's so this is why I've had to be at the house, because Ruben is outside our Haddonfield office, and you cannot be in the same place in 2 times, or the echo will go crazy.
And it's cold out here.
It's cold out here. So, you guys, I just, like, as a community, right? We're all real estate agents. We're all at different teams, different brokerages, all of that. But we're all agents. We're all human, and collaboration. There's enough leads and closings for every single team leader on here and team on here. So we should be collaborating more. Like, we all have a common, like, denominator, which is being a Zillow Preferred Partner, right? And I tell you, a lot of our business has been a great success because of Zillow. And we can share openly. Like, there's no secret sauce here, guys, and we should all be, you know, working together. So, you know, you guys, we have Ashley back, Ruben back, Mel back. Does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna and I want to thank every single one of our speakers, Cristianos, Ryan Town, Venus, and Andrea from Zillow Home Loans and our growth advisor. Oh my goodness, Kevin Saccone, everybody, and Matt Marino out from Kind. Like, you guys, this was just a harebrained idea. And if you know me, if you're in my ecosystem, I have harebrained ideas, and it's usually over a glass of wine. And then I call Ashley, and then I call Ruben, then I call Mel, then I call Steph, then I call Pip, and Pip's like, "Can you just get off the phone?"
Yes.
So real quick, does anybody have some takeaways from today? Throw it in the chat. And some of our panelists, like you guys are in the weeds with us as well. So like anything that you guys want a little, catalyst or a little point that you're like, oh, I'm going to put that into my business.
Anyone?
Hey, can I say something?
Go for it.
Okay. I really appreciated Chris and Ryan's perspective. I thought it was super insightful because I think sometimes we make it overly complicated. And with Chris breaking it down to those 4 things, if you train those 4 things over and over and over again, gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gold.
Yeah, absolutely. We got one. They are inviting us to contact them based on their activity. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. And reviews, referrals, repeat business. Like, honestly, that is a mantra that I play in my head all the time. It's not just about the singular transaction. It's about the potential of that singular transaction and what that could blossom into. And it's not only the business, the additional business you get from it, it's the relationships. Like, the relationships feed me as well as the additional business that you get from it. And I love it.
I love it. There goes, of course, Belle's comment. There you go.
I mean, when you look at it like that, though, like you see these poor people who are so excited to see this home, who are excited to buy a house, and you know that they're so much better off with you.
Yeah.
That is your value proposition, guys.
You know what? It's so funny when you hear people, you hear other agents talking on social media all the time. They're like, oh, don't push the contact because you'll just get like a crappy Zillow agent on the other end of the line. And then I think about when they get Mel on the other end of the line. And then I'm like, you guys have got no fucking idea. Mel is one of the best agents out there, like hands down. When she brings out her tool belt with the electric tester and the flashlight, and she's like, I'm getting down in crawl spaces and going up here. And I'm like, that's the phenomenal level of service that like our clients deserve. And so, yeah, thank God they connected with the random Zillow agent. It just happened to be Mel. And then it's like, you've got that lifelong connection. And I mean, hands down, yeah. Saving them from the other inept agents out there.
Yeah.
They always want to use my flashlight.
And then you guys, for agents that are on here and you're not diving into Follow Up Boss.
Yeah.
Follow Up Boss, Follow Up Boss, Follow Up Boss. You guys, it will literally give you your cell phone back. And this is very interesting because Pip was probably the last one to really engage in changing his clients from his personal phone to his Follow-Up Boss number. Like, how is that now?
Oh, it's much better. I probably have 85% there. I am doing better. I'm telling them, I'm like, if they come through on my personal number, I text them back on my work number. I'm like, hey, I've got a new work number. Here it is. So yeah, I'm getting better and better at getting them in there. So yeah, it's important to have all that communication together. And then you can turn off your FUB notifications. I think I set mine at like 7:30 in the evening. I'm like, I'm going to get back to you the following day. So then I'm not getting disturbed by those late night client texts. But if anyone outside of that is texting me. Well, I'm still getting those text messages come in. So it's just a good way of kind of managing your clients.
I also want to give a shout out to all of you for how well you have set up our FUB account. It was, I know has truly been a continuing labor for everybody involved in that. However, for an agent or a team leader plugging into it, it is plug and play. So if you are not embracing it yet, dive in, because all the work has been done for you. You just have to use it. And it's so simple and so powerful. And it was such a relief for me because I'm used to doing all those things myself. And I jumped in and went, look what it does. I don't even have to do anything.
Yeah. And I tell you, like, and Follow Up Boss, you know, they are just continuing to innovate, and like just being a part of, you know, that system right there. I can only imagine, because, you know, they do own everything for a reason. Hopefully showing time is in Follow Up Boss in like 2.2 seconds. Your video messaging is going to be in Follow Up Boss, or your Zoom is going to, you know, that buyer consultation should be in Follow Up Boss. So like, so I'm going to wrap this up because we have 5 minutes. I want to thank all the panelists yet again. Our watch party locations, if you are still there, or if you're watching at home, please make sure to take some photos. Give us some feedback as well. Like if you were, you know, you got the registration, you know, shoot an email back about like what you would want to see next, guys, because if we build this for agents by agents here with, you know, partnering with Zillow, we're all going to win, and we should all win together.
Mm-hmm.
We should all win together. So there's no secret sauce. None of us have secret sauce. It's real estate. There's humans. So we should just be all doing it together one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of you do a Zoom call with a prospective builder before you meet them? Mel?
So no, I'm much better in person. I know, hard to believe, but I am much better in person. I know if I can get in front of somebody, I have a much better shot and connecting with them. Now, if they want to meet before then, well, then absolutely, I'm going to do. But most people just want to see the house. You're the, I hate to say it, but you're the door opener for them.
For the first step.
For the first step,
yeah.
Right? So my biggest thing is do not talk yourself out of an appointment. So many people are going down the rabbit hole and talk themselves out of the appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that.
And just one more thing. I mean, so a huge, and we can really, again, it's very easy to go off the rails on this and kind of why things happen the way they are. But you got to remember what Zillow is and who the shopper is and who they trust right away. They trust Zillow. We practice doing all of our responses through Zillow messages for a reason, because that is who they trust. It's when we have that opportunity to get in front of them, that's when we build the rapport. That's where we win. That's where, like, now they trust us. That's when we give our FUB number. Those are the things. So again, try and remove any barrier. The reason the person's shopping there is because they don't want a barrier. So again, that's been a great practice for us, just to kind of stay within the Zillow scope, that Zillow circle of trust. And then when we meet them, that's where we win.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just real quick, guys, after your first appointment, explain to them how Zillow works. How did you come to me? Bring up your phone. I want to show you exactly how you and I got here today. And it's very exciting. And then you show them, you explain it to them, and then explain to them for future, you can just reach out to me directly. Here is my direct phone number. And they're so relieved that they don't have to go back through the Zillow loophole of, pressing a button. Of course, they can connect and schedule a showing with you through the app if that's what they choose to do. But meet them where they're at. Show them how they can work with you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. They don't know what they don't know. You have to show them.
Show them how not to get connected with an inept agent.
Exactly.
Well, on that note.
But we assume that they know, and they really don't know. So you have to help pave the way for them to work with you. And by taking a few seconds to explain it, they're like, oh, wow. So this other house that I was looking at this morning, we can go see that one. Yes, and I have some recommendations for you. Do you have a few minutes to go over the process? You know, there's a coffee shop around the corner, or we're in the driveway, or we're in the basement.
It's always the basement.
Usually.
Yeah.
But
and that's the bit I was going to mention, Mal. It's like there is that importance of still having that buyer consultation, but it's better to meet them in person first. And then if they're like, okay, no, I've only got time to like look at this house, then the next appointment that you book at that time is, if nobody has guided you through the process, let's set up a Zoom time where we can kind of go into it in a bit more detail when you have time, so I can explain this, you know, to you, and you have that buyer consultation at the time. And if you can get the buyer consultation, I will say 99% of the time, then you're going to be your client, like hands down, and just kill that buyer consultation. So if you don't have the next showing sort of set up or scheduled, just book that buyer consultation after that preliminary, you know, tour that you have.
What happens next is, because they don't know what happens next.
Right.
Kollective Summit, Preferred Summit 2025.
Wait, is that Yanis Philippakis?
Yeah, lead through the fall.
That is such an inside joke.
I know.
That's why you should all go to Rise.
That's what I was going to say. Plug for next year.
So Jared, real quick, there's a question. How do you handle having the buyer agency contract signed before the showings?
It's not about having a buyer agency contract. Zillow does send out the Zillow
touring agreement. Which can I speak to that real quick?
Yes, Mel, go for it.
And only because I think too many are getting so caught up in this touring agreement. You're making it way more complicated than it needs to be. If they have not signed it by the time that you are showing up for the showing, you bring a copy with you. Okay. You don't cancel the appointment. You bring the copy with you. You say, hey, listen, this just allows me to show you the home. It doesn't, you know, beholden you to me in any way, but just legally allows me to open the door for you. Resistance level comes down. Because why are we making such a big deal about this piece of paper before you've even met them?
Mm-hmm.
They think you're trying to get them to commit to you, or something else.
Forced.
Of course, we still want to be compliant, but don't bring that resistant level up by insisting on it over and over again. Get in front of them, explain it to them. Hey, there's a new law in New Jersey. In order for me to show you the home, we have to have some sort of agreement in place. All this piece of paper does is allow me to open the door and show you the home. Go ahead, Davey.
I was going to say, if I could piggyback on that, you know, that's kind of the same premise that I've been going with, and I'll, you know, basically you'll read through this. It says, I don't know you anything. You don't know me anything. But really, in my opinion, the purpose of it is to create more transparency of the next steps, because this is just a basic touring agreement. It doesn't allow me to act on your behalf. If we start discussing more in-depth real estate conversations and start discussing on how we're going to submit offers, that would require a more formal agreement. That way I can act on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And at that point, I would use the line, has anyone ever taken the time to guide you through the real estate process?
Yep.
And they're most likely to say, no, great. Then you book the buyer consultation. Then you get all the details. Then you can say at the end of the buyer consultation, great, well, our next step now, I'm going to send you the buyer agency agreement. You've explained your fee, how it works, how you're going to get paid, the whole 9 yards.
Yep. Don't let it be a barrier. You're probably overthinking it. And I love that you want to be compliant, because we all want to be compliant, right? But the consumer doesn't know. They have no clue. They just want to see the house. So resistance down,
They sign, you build some rapport, buyer consultation, buyer agency agreement. It does work very well.
Okay. All right, 4 minutes over. Thank you guys. It was amazing. I can't wait. If anybody wants to host us the next quarter, let me know. Once again, thank you all. For those, once again, take photos of your watch party. If you're just watching this by yourself, take some photos, tag the Collective Agent on Instagram. And for the Henfield office, I'm coming for you. All right, I'll be there in 5. All right, bye guys. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays.